Well, it's finally arrived, folks. It is here. It is the grand finale. Bahrain were moments away. Welcome to PSGL Premier Sim Gaming League's returning to you tonight, live for the grand finale. Will it be Bari Broumand? Will it be Thomas Ronhaar? We're going to crown a brand new champion here tonight. My name, of course, being George Morgan, your commentator. Alongside me, as always, the Irishman, Jack Cannan. Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
It is all to play for, and it's been a while, George, since we've had a title decider come down to the last round. It is so exciting. We're rounding off this frustrating game cycle with hopefully a round to remember. We've got some returning faces, but we have got a hell of a championship battle to come for you tonight. Stick with us. Full qualifying, full race coming up. It's Bahrain. It's a track historically where Bari Broumand has come out on top of PSGL, but we all know Ronhaar is always there or thereabouts. So 3 points is the gap if you're unfamiliar. It's 83 for Bari Broumand. The stewards room did decide it in the end last week. 5-second penalty for Ronhaar after the incident between himself and Jake Benham, I think it was, in the end. So 83 points for Bari, 80 for Ronhaar. It's all going to come down to the wire.
A mere 3 points, Jack Cannan. That's all that separates them. I know you've been doing the permutations as well. The posts went out across social media. Jack Cannan on the ball for you lot at home as well. And if you're in the PSGL Discord and also on social media, you'll see those same permutations as well. So you'll be able to stay up to date with exactly what could go down here tonight. But Bahrain, usually the start of a season, Jack, is now playing host to our end of season. A tricky circuit, mistakes can be made, races won and lost around certain corners through this circuit, but it does throw up a huge spectacle. You've got to wonder whether this might favour Bari Broumand. I think that last victory, obviously returning to the top spot at Austria, I think was the all-important one. Effectively, he has got one hand on the trophy, as long as he can keep things under control and stay ahead of Thomas Ronhaar.
Yeah, that's the very basics for Bari, is that he just needs to finish in front of Ronhaar and he will secure the championship. So in that regard, yes, it is definitely advantage him. But I did have another interesting sort of little observation, George. The maximum amount that we've had so far is 2 wins in a row, and after anyone has gone 2 in a row, we've had a brand new winner who's never won before. So could we see something similar tonight? But nobody has ever gone more than back-to-back. Ronhaar has done it 2 in a row. Bari has done 2 in a row, twice separately, spread out across the season. So, judging by those statistics, I think we're going to get somebody new on the top step tonight.
It's a possibility. I mean, you'd imagine the likes of Bari and Thomas, I think they'll both be fighting it out over bigger prizes, I think, for this particular race. But interesting to note as well that Bari Broumand went 2 in a row in his most recent 2 races, bouncing back to the form from where he started at the beginning of this season. Of course, took 2 wins at the very start. Now, is this a sign that maybe the form might decline now? Or is this Bari picking up the momentum and he's going to carry it on through towards the end of the race?
Well, the thing is, George, Bari has never led the championship going into the final round. So no. This is a position he has never been in, but he has almost one hand on it. If he finishes in front of Ronhaar, he's the champion. And I suppose there is a chance of it. If it ends in a tie, he will win the championship on countback because of those 4 wins that he has to Ronhaar's 2. So he is in the driving seat, for want of a better term. But Ronhaar is going to be giving it absolutely everything, and he's still in with a good chance. If Ronhaar wins this and Bari's second, he could still do it.
Good. I tell you what, folks, everything's to play for. It's a pleasure having you all here as well. Obviously, the best-looking chat in the history of league racing. Great to have you guys here as well. Premier Sim Gaming League's final round here tonight. It is, of course, me and Jack's last broadcast on the F122 game before actually not for me technically, because I'm doing F1 challenges this year with Kieran McGinley, but myself and you, Jack, this is our last race together on the F122 game. Obviously, we won't be commentating on PSGL until F123. So let's hope that this is a special night, folks. We are lined up to potentially have the greatest grand finale, the greatest league race of all time. You're here to witness it. And if you're enjoying it, make sure you slap subscribe and also leave a like down below as well. Remember, at Premier Sim GL as well on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well, if you want to stay up to date with highlights, different bits and pieces of social media that do find their way around. There's also a Discord as well, and if you fancy racing at PSGL, you know where to find it. The Discord is where you need to look. But now, qualifying is dead ahead. And we've also got some news from the Ferrari camp, Jack Cannan.
We certainly do. If you did miss it during the week, obviously we know that Bari and Nicholas are part of the lineup for Ferrari, but their new third driver has been announced, and maybe not one people have made the link to, but Tomek Paradzic is now a Ferrari man.
Yeah, he is, and big news, in fact, becoming the number 3, and Ferrari were very open in stating this as well, making him their number 3 driver for the season, and of course he's making his switch, obviously from that of taking part at Alfa Romeo, but still driving a Ferrari-powered car. And Philip Presnader, as standard though, the first man to leave his pit bay. We'll have to wait and see how he gets on as well. He seems to have returned to some sort of form, Jack Cannan, obviously looking back at Philip's last run at Austria, and did lead that particular Grand Prix for a period of time, but it all unravelled for him towards the end.
Yeah, but you could see the confidence building with Philip once again, which is great to see, because if we always bring it back to the inaugural season of PSGL PC. He was the championship contender. He fought Bari Broumand for the championship back then, and then of course it kind of unravelled after the mid-season. But of course you'll notice as well there is some stewards stuff that has been done over the past week or so. Alvaro Carreton, he has received a qualifying ban in this regard, because I believe it was for retiring on the circuit, which is not allowed under the league rules. Same applied to Patrick Sipos, who also received one, but of course he is not racing tonight. And Lucas Blakely, he's returning. We didn't mention him, but Lucas Blakely is back, and he's come back to try and see how far he can get up from last on the grid. So that is intentional from Lucas Blakely, F1 Esports champion, of course. And I like to bring this little statistic back, George, in that the champion of PSGL in the first championship on the new game, the champion of PSGL PC has always gone on to win the F1 Esports title. We saw it with Jarno, and we saw it with Lucas. We
did, and it's an incredible stat, really. As we now see Philip Presnader dipping down in towards turn 8. Of course, Lucas Blakely, the current F1 Esports World Champion, not to mention the current PSGL PC F1 Champion as well. There's going to be a new face joining the illustrious group, or the illustrious pairing of Jarno Opmeer and, of course, Lucas Blakely. It could either be Bari Broumand and, of course, Thomas Ronhaar, either of the two on the top step. We'll have to wait and see, but still, nonetheless, I mean, we could talk about the rivalries as well at stake here as well. Jack, obviously, Bari Broumand and Jarno Opmeer had such a vibrant history, even before PSGL, even back when we were commentating a league previous as well. They were also fighting it out for the title back then. Bari Broumand has since become a fan favourite in the eyes of many, not to mention the Scuderia and the Ferrari fans. Quite a contrast from where we saw him when he first started league racing at the top end.
Certainly is, yeah, and you know, Bari is always the man who's fighting somebody for a title. Even if we look back at about a couple of seasons ago when he was fighting with Lucas Blakely for the championship here, of course, came undone on the final lap of the season. Unknowingly, we didn't know it was going to be the last lap of the season. But if you didn't catch that race, do check out the previous season on F1 22, our first season on the game, and check out Monza in particular. The final lap between Lucas Blakely, Bari Broumand, and Freddie Rasmussen through turn 1. Contact between Broumand and Rasmussen, and Blakely went through to take the lead of the championship, which would then turn into the championship in the end, because that ended up being a season that was cut short. But that was another position that Broumand was in. He was leading the championship and came out of the final lap, and lost it all. So we can't discount anything happening tonight.
Well, we're going to lay this all on the line as well. We got Richie in the live chat saying, so Jack and George, who do you think will win? And I think he means the title, as Alfie Butcher goes fastest on intermediate tyres at 131.120. Jack, lay it on the line. Who's winning this title, do you think?
I think I'm going to back Bari. I really do, because he's never been in this position before. I think he's determined to take this title, and this is, I think, is his 4th attempt at trying to get a PSGL PC title. So I think, for me, it's going to be Bari tonight.
Well, I think I'm on your side as well. I think Bari Broumand is definitely the one to watch, given the fact that this is probably his best chance at taking the championship to date. Obviously, he has gone close in the past, but never quite as close as this. And I think it's pretty fair to say that he stands a pretty good chance heading through this race. But we'll all have to wait and see. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, Thomas Ronhaar could pull something out of the bag. Still, at this moment in time, only 3 points separate the two drivers here at this very sensitive stage of the championship. The final race, round 11. And I tell you what, folks, we have had championships cut short before here in PSGL. That, of course, leading to Lucas Blakely's championship win. Could it be the turn of Bari Broumand or Thomas Ronhaar? You'll find out in nearly 2 hours' time. It's going to be sensational. Matthias van Erven currently sat second fastest. All the cars, though, that have enlisted laps currently on intermediate tyres. No one too desperate to come out just yet. Already, Philip Presneder has come back into the pit lane, hasn't yet set a lap time. He won't be too concerned just yet, though. Obviously, intermediate tyre stage isn't necessarily anything to take into account. Alfie Butcher, though, right at the top draw, 131.120. The big question is, though, with all the drivers moving around, we've still got some unanswered questions, though, Jack, in terms of some of the teams. Obviously, nothing announced yet for Alfa Romeo, not to mention Haas's intentions for the next season and various. So there's still plenty of spots for drivers on the cards here. So that still heightens the prospects of league racing, doesn't it?
Certainly does. I mean, there are free seats there, and Haas is normally you would associate it with the one that brings in the young talent from challengers and so forth. But we'll know more once challengers is sort of over. But there's seats there to be filled, and one man who we don't know where he's going yet. He's out on track at the moment. Marcel Kiefer, leaving Red Bull, of course, no longer part of it. Still driving the Red Bull tonight, but we don't know where he's going, and there's some free seats there as well. So he has said he will be on the grid. We're not too sure where he's off to just yet, but Marcel Kiefer being parts of the F1 Esports grid for a very long time. And Brendan Lee as well, we're not 100% sure where he's going yet. We know it's going to be to an R8G affiliated team, so we're looking at Haas with one eye, but you know, it's never all said and done. I mean, an interesting kind of off-season, for want of a better term, while we wait for this. I think while I'm here, it'll give everybody a chance to sort of figure out how is the championship looking now, and what does Ronhaar need to do to take this championship? Well, if you're unfamiliar, we do have a different point system here in PSGL. It's 16 points for a victory, then it's 12 points for second, 10 for third, and 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 down to 10th place. So, as it stands, all that Bari needs to do, he just needs to finish in front of Ronhaar to take the championship. If it ends in a tie, he also wins the championship on countback. What Ronhaar needs to do, if he wants to secure the title, he needs to win tonight, first of all. If Bari is second, without the fastest lap, Ronhaar will take the championship. If he's second, he needs Bari to be fourth or lower. Third, he needs Bari to be fifth or lower. Fourth, seventh or lower for Bari. Ronhaar needs to, if Ronhaar is P5, then Bari needs to be P9 or lower. And then you have Ronhaar in P6 and Bari in P10 or lower. And if Ronhaar is 7th and Bari is out of the points or DNFs, then he is also the champion. So all in all, Ronhaar needs to outscore Bari by 4 points or more to take this championship tonight. So with the point system that we have, it's incredibly close together. But Ronhaar's best chance, George, he needs to win tonight.
Absolutely right, he does, and it will obviously give him the best chance of taking the title. Marcel Kiefer up towards the line to register our first soft tyre lap time, a 1:27.827 to kick the ball rolling. And not only that, now all the other drivers now heading out onto the track. Out laps now underway, plenty of cars out and about, and quite a few interesting names as well, Jack. Now I want to touch on one man, Istvan Pukki, Jack, a young man who once again lit things up here at PSGL, taking second at Austria last time out. As if first at Spa wasn't enough, he's decided to pop himself back on the podium in what can only be described in pretty sensational fashion.
Absolutely. I've had my eye on Istvan Pukki since Saudi Arabia, since we had the race in Saudi Arabia, where he sort of rocked up and stuck it into Q3 on his first attempt, and has been really, really quick all throughout. Picked up the pieces in Spa to take a sensational victory in the end, and also brought himself back to a P2 finish last time out, and is now in the fight for third in the championship, which is quite an incredible statistic when you think that he hasn't competed in a good chunk of the races this season. So Istvan Pukki also in with a shout of third place in the championship. That fight is between him, Wilson Hughes and Jake Benham, of course, for that third place in the championship. So that's also a battle to keep your eyes on. But Istvan Pukki, the sort of the upsetter in a way, came in, has taken a victory this season, has taken a podium this season, and he's never one to be counted out, especially when we're talking about changeable conditions.
No, absolutely not. He seems to master it exceptionally well. That was the story of the most interesting, intriguing and sensational Belgian Grand Prix that we have witnessed. Istvan Pukki managing to certainly take the bull by the horns, get the big result, and that's exactly what he would have needed to land that victory at the end of the day. Still on top though, Marcel Kiefer, the time to beat 1:27.827. Nicolas Longuet though going fastest in that first sector. Barry Broumand's teammate, of course, at the Ferrari team, and has also proven to be quite an exquisite engineer, working with me on my live streams, on my broadcast. His first sector purple time though has just been taken away from him by no other than his teammate, who's fighting for the championship, Barry Broumand, as well. As we're now watching Nicolas Longuet make his way up through towards turn 11. Ferrari looking almighty and very, very strong, Jack Kinnan.
They really are, and they're definitely going to be ones to watch heading into the new game cycle at F1 Esports. An incredibly strong lineup of Nicolas Longuet, Barry Broumand, and also now Tomek Paragic joining that team as well. So definitely ones to keep your eyes on. The first times coming in now in this first part of Q1 27.4. Currently for Danny Berezne, who's up at the top end for now for Alfa Romeo. Pedreño in second, Hughes in third. Longuet coming up to the line now. He also goes on a 27.515. So we'll see all of these times popping in now. All you want to be is inside that top 15 cars. And of course, there's two free slots there because you've got Caraton, who's serving a qualifying ban. Lucas Blakely is also starting from the back as well. So there's a chance for two extra to get in here as Barry Broumand up to the top on a 27.302. But we'll see now with these final few runs. Dylan Warren up into 7th place right now, 27.612, and Ronhaar just popping in behind Broumand there, half a tenth of a second between himself and Broumand. And Ismail Fassi, great performance up into 3rd place there for Ismail Fassi. 3 more cars left across the line. Philip Preschneider didn't quite get that lap in the end. Benham and Brendan Lee is also on a lap right now. Also a throwback again. We saw it last week. Brendan Lee back in Mercedes colours this weekend, of course, and great to see him back on the grid having a bit of fun with us here at PSGL. Brendan Lee up to the line now to set his first time. He's up to 3rd, 27.356, a couple of thousandths behind Ronhaar. Brendan Lee in the mix.
Yeah, he took this purple second sector away from Ismail Fassi, who I have to say was extremely quick in his opening fast lap as well. But he just had to beat the 2 drivers at the top end, didn't it, folks? Barry Broumand at 27.302 to get the ball rolling, half a tenth behind him. Thomas Ronhaar at 1:27.352. So it's the 2 championship protagonists at the height of the Q1 table. Brendan Lee, though, a welcome return in the Silver Arrows. Only mere thousandths away from Thomas Ronhaar. A mere 4 thousandths, Jack Kinnan. So it just goes to show, I think, around Bahrain, we're going to see a sensationally tight qualifying session.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see people in the chat liking that Brendan Lee's back in those Mercedes colours, bringing back memories, of course, back when he was competing in the early days of F1 Esports when he won his first title. So he's up there with Barry Broumand and Thomas Ronhaar, but it's a consistent thing. Barry Broumand and Thomas Ronhaar are very rarely separated by more than half a tenth of a second. So it's great to see these guys also close. Ismail Fassi there in the mix as well on a 27.387. Obviously early days in Q1, but we have Caraton is out. He's serving a qualifying ban. Lucas Blakely is trying to do a last to first, so we'll see if he's able to do that. And currently the 3 cars that are currently out are Marcel Kiefer, Matthijs van Erven, and Philip Preschneider. So we'll see who's going to get themselves through here. But one thing that we will keep our eye on, I think, George, is people retiring too early. Longuet's been a bit of a factor in that twice before, where he's retired too early in qualifying. Pedreño's taken the plunge, as has Danny Berezne. So let's see if that works for them. Yeah,
well, I'm guessing Danny Berezne just saw Pedreño retiring and thought, well, if he's retiring, then surely I'm okay as well. Despite Berezne just being just under a 100th of a second faster than Ruben Pedreño. Ismail Fassi as well retiring too, and in comes as well the AlphaTauri, as we said, Ruben Pedreño, and he's going to be coming in, Ismail Fassi should I say, as we now see the cars exiting out of the pit lane and now out onto the circuit for one final time. Barry Broumand retires, as does Thomas Ronhaar. Philip Preschneider back on circuit again. and currently sits 19th in the timing tower. Still yet to put together his best lap so far. Matthijs van Erven also yet to come out on a set of soft tyres. His first lap was set on intermediate, so now he comes back out onto the circuit again. More and more cars coming out now. Chanakinchi, Alfie Butcher, Dylan Warren also out as well. Duncan Hofland also venturing out onto the circuit more and more. East Van Pookie as well. It's going to be a busy final 2 minutes. The fight to stay alive here in qualifying is truly underway. So Q2 beckons. Who's going to get through?
Longay's done it again, George. He's retired again on the 27.515. So let's see if the bravery works this week for everyone.
It didn't work before.
It didn't work before. It's worked once, then it didn't work. So let's see if it works the third time. Third time lucky, let's see, for Nicholas Longay. But everybody in the top 7 has retired from this session, but everyone from Wilson Hughes down is back out onto the circuit. But we'll wait and see if Longay might be cutting that a bit close, because he's got Wilson Hughes, Otis Lawrence and Jake Benham all in the same 10th of a second of him. And then you've got Dylan Warren also in there as well. So if there's a 10th or more of an improvement from everybody else behind, this is going to be pretty tight once again for Nicholas Longay. He doesn't do things by halves here, does Longay. If he does get through, he's going to just about scrape through, you would think. But wants to get through on that single run on the set of softs. So Barry Broumand, Thomas Ronhaar, Brendan Lee, Ishmael Fassi, Beresne and Pedreño for now have all got through on those single runs, which is ideally what you want. But the final runs are now underway to get people through into the next part of qualifying. And really take your pick, because I wouldn't see really any of these guys making their way out in Q1.
No, it is really a very, very competitive lineup. Just mere thousands, mere hundreds separating the drivers from P8 all the way down to the elimination zones as well. Of course, Wilson Hughes still out on track as well. He's going to look to try and go faster if he can as well. Track evolution will surely kick in as well as time goes on. Obviously, it gets faster, a little bit hotter as well. Philip Prejnader just making his way down towards turn 11 as well too. We've got also an Alpine coming up in behind. And of course will be Chanakinchi trying to lift himself out of P14. Obviously right on the bubble of elimination at that point. Of course P15 upwards, you are safe. If you're below that, then you're in trouble. Marcel Kiefer being one of those, and that's a driver we'd be looking to see whether he can sort of light the spark again and bring back his best form. Of course, we're so used to seeing him up at the top end. Of course, partnering Freddie Rasmussen in F1 Esports on quite a considerable number of occasions. Off track, though, Philip Prejnader, not an ideal lap at all. Across the line, though, goes 8th fastest. Great improvement there from Philip Prejnader. If it's enough, though, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, still everything to play for. Plenty of cars out on track. Wilson Hughes also finding time in the middle sector as well. So plenty of cars making their way through, looking to enlist their better lap times. Is Prejnader safe, Jack Cannan?
Well, it's going to be pretty close. He'll be Longay will be thanking him for going in behind him. So Dylan Warren has not improved to go in front. Duncan Hofland just about improving to 14th. Otis Lawrence getting very loose out of the final corner up to the line now. He goes 5th fastest in his Red Bull. Then Matthijs van Erven coming into the pits. So Matthijs is going to be out. He invalidated his time. So that is going to bring an end to qualifying. Just one more car left across the line. It's Marcel Kiefer. Can he get himself out of Q1 again this season, crossing the line now? And he does. He gets himself well safe into 6th place. And that will be now put Jake Benham just about in 15th place. But he is on an improvement here. Here comes Jake Benham. Then 3rd place in the championship pops up into 6th place, I think, in the end. So just about getting through there. But Matthijs van Erven, I think he'll be disappointed with that. He definitely had the pace to get himself through, but invalidated that time. But it worked for Longay this week then. He gets through on that 27.515. But Broumand on top in front of Ronhaar, Brendan Lee and Wilson Hughes and Ishmael Fassi. And would you look at that? Under a 10th of a second between the top 5 in that regard there. Duncan Hofland, Chanakinchi, Matthijs van Erven, they're all out of qualifying. Alvaro Carreton as well, he was serving a qualifying ban. And F1 Esports World Champion Lucas Blakely starting at the back of the grid for his own entertainment and for ours. So, interesting qualifying, 2/10 covering the whole field.
Absolutely, just minimal amounts, folks. That's exactly what we want to see. I tell you what, the drama keeps on coming. As Jack alluded to, Lucas Blakely doing a last to first, or attempting a last to first here in the final round of the PSGL PC Championship. So that's the reason why he didn't set a lap time. Alvaro Carreton, of course, not able to set a qualifying time due to a quali ban that has been enlisted to him as well. But the two main protagonists still at the top end. Bari, Broumand and Thomas Ronhaar, Ps1 and Ps2 in Q1. And we're about to see how they get on, of course, in Q2. Still lots to come. Plenty more to come now as we now send 15 cars out onto the track. The bottom 5 will be eliminated, will not be going through to Q3. The top 10 will only prevail as now we take a look at the track, folks. It is all kicking off. All the cars not wasting any time. Every single one of them emptying the pit bays, and they'll head out onto the track and set their fastest laps. The top 10 to go through. Jack, who do you think's at risk?
Oh, it's another case of taking your pick in this one. Very, very tricky to sort of choose who won't make it through, but if anything, maybe Dylan Warren might struggle to get through, but he's done it in the past. He had a sensational qualifying a couple of rounds ago to get himself through to starts in P5 or 6, I think, in the last one. But let's see if he can get himself through. But this is an incredibly strong Q2 that we've got right here, so it's impossible to almost pick who's going to get knocked out in this part of qualifying. But one or two people who definitely cannot afford to get knocked out in this part of qualifying is Ronhaar and Broumand, who are of course fighting for this championship tonight. But all of the cars out on the track except for Brendan Lee, Danny Beresne and Isfan Pukki. They're letting everybody else go out on the lap first, and then they'll come out afterwards. So these runs will be on used sets of tyres for these guys, so don't expect these to be the benchmark. But Ronhaar tends to come out first for these used runs. He wants to get the whole track almost a clean air right in front of him. You can see it gets quite congested up behind him.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thomas Ronhaar now making his way down through towards the final couple of corners here at Bahrain. Of course, the Sakhir circuit that has delivered us many a great Grand Prix, certainly here at PSGL as well. DRS opens up for Thomas Ronhaar, and he will be the first of the cars to set a flying lap here. Heading down through towards turn 1, in behind as well. More and more cars crossing the line to commence their laps as well. Ismail Fassi, Philip Brejnader, of course the two AlphaTauris looking to put their times on the board as well. Of course, Bari Broumand will be looking to usurp that of Thomas Ronhaar too as they now head round turn 4. Ronhaar, obviously his big chance here to take a first PSGL PC F1 title. Won many races in F1 esports as well. So has had to deal with a lot of controversy as well this season. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how he handles it, certainly here in the final race. I think we're going to be seeing plenty of sparks here as he enters turn 10 and out of turn 10, heading down through towards turn 11. Now, this particular track, obviously plenty of low-speed corners, some high-speed, mainly mid-speed, though, here at Bahrain. Plenty of opportunities, though, to make big moves. Lots of overtaking zones here. The main straight, of course, being the best the more likely overtaking zone, heading down with the DRS in towards turn 1. As now Thomas Ronhaar heads down towards this next double right-hander. Turn 14 and 15 coming up next. I can tell you this, that he currently holds the two fastest sectors in Sector 1 and 2 as well, and holding a commanding advantage here in this Q2 lap as he now crosses the line. What's it going to be for Thomas Ronhaar? It's going to be a 1:27.659. Not a bad place to start. Fassi goes second fastest straight away. 1:28.061. Brejnader goes faster than him too. So more and more times filtering through. But Thomas Ronhaar holding the advantage at least for now. Just under a tenth of a second slower. Wilson Hughes in second place.
Yep, these are all used tyre runs. Bari Broumand invalidated that run, but I can tell you the gap was 0.06 of a second between Ronhaar and Broumand on that lap, and it was advantage Broumand once again, but unfortunately invalidated that first run, so he'll be coming back into the pits. But they are completely inseparable, as always, Broumand and Ronhaar. 0.06 of a second. It was a 27.659 registered on the board for Ronhaar. I can tell you Broumand's time was a 1:27.653. Within the same a couple of tenth of a second or hundredths of a second there, as always, between the two of them. Didn't quite get the lap done though. Longue also not finishing out his lap. So we can expect now all these guys going to peel into the pit lane, and then magically we'll have Isfan Pukki, Danny Beresne and Brendan Lee peel out onto the circuit for their runs you would expect. But those were used tyres for all of these guys, the tyres that they used in Q1, saving extra sets for Q3. because the battle for pole is going to be one to keep your eyes glued to, because the gaps are absolutely minimal, and the pole battles have consistently been between Ronhaar and Broumand, and I think it's going to be the same tonight.
Yeah, I think so. What I can tell you is that Wilson Hughes set the fastest third sector, purple in the third sector. So it was the one sector that Thomas Ronhaar couldn't get purple in. He got the purple in the first 2 sectors, but it would be Wilson Hughes who would take the third one. So very, very tight across the grid order. The gap still majorly fragmented, but nevertheless, still plenty more to come. We'll have to wait and see who's going to enlist the better lap time. Of course, Bari Broumand coming straight back in. We're now within the final 10 minutes. Of course, 9 minutes and 30 here in this Q2 session. This is when they start thinking about fresh tyres and head out on more laps. Certainly Marcel Kiefer coming to the end of his as well. He'll come straight to the pit lane, actually spins the rear heading out of turn 15. A tricky moment there for Marcel Kiefer. A little pirouette to get us through the start of Q2.
Is he trying to copy Brendan Lee? The little 360s. We haven't actually seen one. We haven't seen a Brendan Lee 360.
No, that's
Brendan, if you're listening, can we get a 360 out on the circuit whenever you're able, on your outlap, preferably?
Well, maybe he asked Kiefer to do it. Maybe that's what he did. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Kiefer's given us his 360, so we just need a Brendan Lee one. We haven't seen one in a while. They're made infamous by him doing it. I believe it was in the opening round back in about a couple of rounds ago, or back at the start of the last season, even when we had formation lap working, was back when we last saw that, doing his classic 360s into his grid slot. So we'll see if he's able to do that for us this evening to round out the game cycle. So Istvan Pukki, Danny Berezne is out on the circuit now as well. Brendan Lee is also out on the circuit at the moment. So all these guys will be on brand new shiny sets of the soft compound tyre. So keep your eyes peeled for this. These are going to be the laps to watch, and these will be now crucial laps. This is an incredibly strong Q2 lineup, and it's going to be fine margins to see who's going to get through. With 2/10 covering the top 15 in Q2, I reckon that gap's going to be even smaller now.
Yeah, I think it will be. Danny Berezne is going to be the first of those drivers to set a new lap time, of course on a fresher compound of tyres as well, getting them warmed up, ready for a hot lap. His best result this season coming at the United States with a podium, his sole podium this season. Of course, a regular fixture at the top end of F1 esports and league racing. Danny Berezne, now the Hungarian, hurtling down the long straight, and he'll look to try and place himself into the top 10. Everyone in that elimination zone, really, drivers that we would firmly expect to be in Q3. Of course, Danny Berezne being one of them as well, heading through turn 2 and turn 3. Now out of turn 3, heading down through towards turn 4. The Alfa Romeo, of course, that would grant Jarno Opmeer his F1 esports title as well. Before then, he would join Mercedes. Of course, the team as formerly driven by Brendan Lee, who drives it tonight as well. Danny Berezne now coming through turns 5, 6 and 7. Now in towards turn 8. Oh, got on the curb there a little bit, and it made him squirrely. Losing the traction, losing the grip, and that will surely hurt his lap there after setting a purple first sector, Jack Cannan.
Yeah, that was a little bit loose for Berezne there. Gets out of the next part of the corner well, though, using all that curb on the exit, which is the line to use up towards sector 2 for Berezne. Now flings it in to this sweeping left, the camber bringing you closer to the apex, trying to drift you out wide at the same time as well. Fine margins here, using the curb on the way through the fast right. 105.7, the rear again, stepping away from Berezne. Round he goes. Berezne spins it round in the middle sector. You can see carrying so much speed into that right-hander. The rear just stepped out away from him, and he's going to have to come straight back in, get a new set on, because that is not what Berezne wanted, and that is quite an unusual spin to have in the middle sector there for Berezne, but was pushing so hard in that middle sector. Rear end got away from him, and that was all she wrote for Danny Berezne. So he's back in the pits now, and that'll be a run unfortunately wasted. He's going to leave it to one run. So the next car across the line will be Istvan Pukki then, coming up to the line in the Aston Martin. 27.2, fastest time so far for him. Here comes Ronhaar though, crossing the line. 27.183 for his effort on the new set of tyres, that is. Next up though, we'll have the next Ferrari crossing the line, and Bari Broumand in front by a tenth of a second just in front of Ronhaar. We've got a battle on our hands.
Yeah, he's not the only one though. His teammate Nicholas Longue has just enlisted a purple second sector time, and he could now march himself to the top end to join his teammate. Does go fastest for the 27.023. Again, mere thousands separating them, 6,000s to be exact. Two for Ferraris, the Scuderia on Ps1 and Ps2. Can they do the same when we go into Q3?
That is the absolute ideal scenario for them. Look at the two teammates separated by just 6/1000ths of a second between Longue and Broumand, Ronhaar in P3. Otis Lawrence, there he is at P4. The man who took his first pole and his first win this season. Ruben Pedreño up in P5 as well. Just 1,000th between Pedreño and Brendan Lee. Jake Benham in there as well. Isfan Pookie in P8. Fassi and Preschnader with the same time. Ishmael Fassi and Philip Preschnader, the two AlphaTauris, completely inseparable, literally 27.307 from those two. No representative times on the board yet for Marcel Kiefer, for Alfie Butcher, and really for Wilson Hughes. You'd expect a bit more from him. And Danny Berezne, of course, he had a big spin on his lap, so he's going to obviously have to come back out again. Dylan Warren invalidating his time as well. But this is looking good for Ferrari. Nicholas Longue and Bari Broumand up at the top. Ronhaar in P3, and doesn't have the benefit of his teammate up there either. Does Ronhaar? He would have preferred to have Matthias mixing it up with them as well, but doesn't quite have his teammate alongside him up towards the front end again. But we've got a very, very interesting battle to get through to this Q3, because if you look at Otis Lawrence on a 27.2, they're all on 27.2s down to P8, and then you have Ishmael Fassi and Philip Preschnader on literally the same times. There's half a tenth separating 4th down to 10th.
Yeah, it goes to show how close it really is. I tell you what, these drivers never fail to amaze here at the PSGL PC title or PC Championship. Big thank you to Mikhail Kotysiak for the donation. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, my friend. Big thank you to everyone there at home tuning in and watching along now as all the cars come in. 3 minutes left to go here in Q2. It's all to play for. Let us know who's going to be eliminated here in Q2, folks. Let us know your names, your nominations, those who you think won't make it through to Q3. 5 names in total. Let us have it. Let us know who you think they're going to be. Danny Berezne, the first car to leave already, and set his faster lap. Still yet to initialize a lap, in fact. Both Alfa Romeos, of course, Dylan Warren stepping in as his teammate for tonight's race. Both yet to set a lap time, so pressure's on here, Jack.
Certainly is. Berezne was looking good in that first sector, but he'll have now at the back of his head again. Didn't quite have the rear end through the fast right, and just tried to carry too much speed in there, so he'll be aware of that. But again, got to leave it all on the line out here, especially with the margins that we're talking about. But you would think that Berezne, he definitely does have the pace to get himself through into Q3 here. Dylan Warren as well could spring a surprise here in Bahrain. Alfie Butcher as well looking to get himself through to Q3 at the same time, as is Marcel Kiefer. And Wilson Hughes, he'll be expecting himself to get through in for this one as well. So it's sort of interesting to see that, well, everyone is coming out except the two Ferraris have decided to come out, and you would expect them to be safe. They're over a 10th clear. Ronhaar has decided to come out again because he doesn't feel that he's going to be safe, really, and I wouldn't blame him, because there is a 10th and a bit separating him right now in P3 to elimination down towards P11. So he obviously needs to keep himself safe, but would not have wanted to come out on that second set of softs. That only leaves him. It doesn't quite have the extra set now in Q3, but the Ferraris will, provided they get through safely, of course. We can't discount anything happening here, but this is going to be a titanic battle just to get through to Q3. Yeah,
I think it will. Danny Berezne, who of course did hold the fastest first 2 sectors prior to the spin on his fast lap earlier on, is going to try and recapture some of that magic yet again. Let's see what he can do here as he exits turn 4. He needs to make sure he hammers back over the curbs now through turns 5, 6 and then 7 in through towards turn 8. Yellow flags already lit up in sector 3 as the drivers look to get themselves sorted out, ready for their fast runs. We're now within the final minute of, well, certainly usual time here in Q2. Now as Danny Berezne sends it through towards turns 9 and 10, now heading out now, foot back to the floor now for Danny Berezne. Needs absolutely everything to pull off a magic lap here at certainly here at Bahrain, the final race here in the PSGL calendar. Up through turn 11 now, does the Hungarian in the Alfa Romeo. And he'll make his way through turns 12 and 13. Plenty of cars will be following in hot pursuit, that's for sure, through the next right now. And this is looking like a solid lap here, certainly. If you're Danny Berejny, I can tell you this, though. Dylan Warren has just nailed a purple first sector. He is flying. Dylan Warren already off the bat. Danny Berejny's teammate looking to try and light things up here to potentially snatch P1 away from the two Ferraris. Danny Berejny now towards the line, goes third fastest. And I tell you what, Thomas Ronhaar was right. I think to come out again, it surely is at risk. But Dylan Warren certainly back here again in the Alfa Romeo. Purple in the first sector. Can he continue this trend? He's just had the purple first sector stolen away. Oh, Dylan Warren spins. But it's Jake Benham who has got the purple first sector, Jack.
Oh, that's such a shame for Dylan Warren. He'll be out again, almost in the same corner. Ishmael Fassi pops up to the P3 now. Good decision from Ronhaar to come out again because it's certainly at risk. Pedreño in P4 now. Everybody improving. Preschneider up to P7. Now, big times coming in now. Jake Benham on his lap. Brendan Lee coming out of the final corner now in the Mercedes. Up into the final corner on the power. Can Brendan Lee get himself through to Q3 in his Mercedes? Just in P8 for now. Will that be enough? Otis Lawrence has backed out. He doesn't think he's had enough, so a couple more still to come. Istvan Pukki looking for yet another Q3 appearance in the Aston Martin. Has he done enough? No, he hasn't. He's eliminated from qualifying. Wilson Hughes then in 13th. Ronhaar finds a bit of time and goes a couple of thousandths quicker than Longuet. Hughes across the line just sneaks in. Can Benham displace him? Yes, he can in P6, and that brings an end to Q2. So we say goodbye to Wilson Hughes, Istvan Pukki, Marcel Kiefer, Alfie Butcher, and to his dismay, Dylan Warren. We will say goodbye after that purple sector. But we have got a battle at the top end. Thousandths of a second separating Ronhaar, Broumand and Longuet up at the front end. We're heading into Q3 now. There it is at the top end. It's Ronhaar heading Q2, 6 thousandths in front of Longuet, 12 thousandths in front of Broumand. Fassi, Pedreño, Benham, Berejny, Preschneider, Brendan Lee and Otis Lawrence are the top 10. We will see battle it out for pole position. Wilson Hughes knocked out by 2 thousandths of a second. Istvan Pukki in P12, Marcel Kiefer, Alfie Butcher and Dylan Warren. This is going to be an incredible battle for pole.
Well, I can tell you this, Jack. 3 different drivers held the purple sectors. Of course, purple sector 1 going to Jake Benham. The second purple sector going to Thomas Ronhaar. And the third purple sector going to Bari Broumand. Just goes to show that the pace is spread out right across the entire grid. We saw, obviously, the top 5 all within the same 10th of a second pretty much. So close together. Incredible. In fact, the person in 5th place, obviously the car in 5th place, that of course being Ruben Pedreño, just outside of that 10th of a second mark. The top 4 all well within a 10th. Incredible, folks. I tell you what. But now it's it's crunch time, folks. Pole position. Who's going to grasp it? Let us know in the live chat, please. Who is taking pole here for the Bahrain Grand Prix? I want to see as many comments as possible. Let us know. Jack, I'm going to throw it all down to you now. Get yourself off that fence. Who is taking pole?
Oh, do I go for somebody different? I'm going to go Longuet tonight.
Ooh,
I think Longuet is going to be the one.
Well,
Longuet.
Well, we've got Preston Paving and Landscaping saying Ronhaar for pole. We've got Ronhaar for Joshua Davis. Barry says Giancarlo Valente. Just Storm saying Barry. Barry says Dazza Snipes. We've got Barry for Chrome. We've got Longuet for Acid Masters. We've got Barry for Abhinav Tactics. Mr. George Morgan going to say Barry for pole position. Hashtag love George. Love you too, man. What else have we got here? We got Barry Broumand for Luca as well. And further down, we've got Avatar saying Ferrari pole. I mean, that's easy. Come on. Make it more difficult than that. Ronhaar for Benny. Team Thomas for Falcon F1. Barry says Mohammed Hussein. We've also got Binham for Taser. That's the first note for Jake Benham. Barry for Matt T. Aaron Lee Martin says Ronhaar. Jack Cannan is going to get pole, says Fraser. I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that, Jack.
Yep. I can do a lap of Bahrain in under a minute. Get on my level.
Worse, I tell you what, that's going to be the time to beat, that's for sure. Binham Pole says it's Funky Yarno. He's unfortunately not racing tonight. Super Otis for pole. That is a possibility. I tell you what, don't write off Otis Lawrence. He's delivered quite a few spectacular results. Gabriele Pincini, Jack Cannan, says you're his hero.
Am I?
Not all heroes.
The wrong
not all heroes wear capes, Jack Canan. Let me just tell you that.
They wear headphones.
But Kyrie Burner has just turned around. Or Kyrie Burner says George Morgan masterclass incoming. So maybe that outweighs the hero. I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
Well, let's see.
Well, we'll wait and see. We'll let Q3 decide. Folks, you're all a bunch of legends. Thank you for your predictions. Shall we get on with Q3? Let's get some W's in the chat if you want to see some Q3. You guys ready? Let me know. Come on. Hit up the live chat, guys. Hit that W key. We want to see it. Come on. Come on. Keep them coming. I'm waiting for them. In they come. Yes, they want it. Let's head across to qualifying, folks. The Q3. Here we go. Philip Prejnader not wasting any time. He is the first driver out on track to kick off Q3. Same trend as always. And more and more cars out to join him. Otis Lawrence as well. This is it, folks. The final qualifying session on F1 22 here at PSGL, certainly in the PCF1 title race. Jack, we've long loved it. I don't think we're going to miss it this year, but roll on F1 23.
Roll on F1 23. Roll on something that can get us up in the morning.
Yeah.
that can just function would be the ideal, so that we could have an enjoyable season. Not that we haven't had an enjoyable season, obviously, but it hasn't been. Well, let's just leave it there. So we'll just we'll enjoy Q3. I don't want to ruin the stream before we even get started with this race. But Q3 is underway. This is going to be a titanic battle for pole. Do not take your eyes off of this, for this has been a battle between Broumand and Ronhaar for pole position all the way through this season. But it's anyone's game now. But it's between Longuet, Broumand, Ronhaar, possibly even Brendan Lee's been looking good this evening. We'll see if he can get himself in the mix tonight. But Philip Prejnader, he's the first man out on runs. These should be, again, on potentially another used set of tyres for those. But at the same time, it's still advantage Ferrari for me, George, because they managed to save an extra set in the last qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. So they might choose to use 2 sets of fresh rubber, or they might choose to save a set for the race. We'll have to wait and see. But nevertheless, we're now seeing Philip Prejnader, who, as by default, has taken the first purple sector here in Q3. Timer is ticking downwards already. 7 minutes and 30 still to go. So we're kicking things off here at Bahrain with a blast. Turn 11 is next up for the AlphaTauri. It makes its way through. Philip Prejnader obviously looking to try and enlist himself into the top end. Great to see him make a reappearance in Q3, of course, as I said before. Looked like he returned to form of old at Austria, where he would go on to lead the race for a portion. Unfortunately, did not quite lead to a race win, but still, nonetheless, he is showing that he's still got the potential and the capability to perform at the very top level. Otis Lawrence, though, incidentally taking that purple Sector 1 already, as we now see Philip Prejnader make his way down through towards the start-finish line. He has got company with him as well, is now to the top. Goes Philip Prejnader to kick things off. Otis Lawrence, though, is the other man to look at because he has gone purple, or did go purple in that first sector. That privilege has been taken by Nicolas Longuet, but still, he has taken the purple second sector away from Philip Prejnader. Can Otis Lawrence, the Welshman, the young superstar who has joined Veloce, what can he land onto the border? 27.599, not bad at all, but there are more laps coming, and Barry Broumand is now purple in the first sector.
Yeah, now remember, we were seeing 27 zeros in the last session, so these are all unused sets of tyres. So these, again, keep that in mind, folks at home. So again, we'll see who's going to be able to put in the best banker time, but again, some might not bother to do a run on used sets, and we could see some rapid times come in this next part. Again, there's only 5 minutes left in the qualifying sessions. There is not long really for these guys to get times in. Ruben Pedreño out of the final corner now in his Alpine. Don't know what this time is going to be for him, crossing the line now, and he goes up to a 27.1. Good effort from Ruben Pedreño. So that is competitive. And Nicolas Longuet, we've dipped into the 26s. Longuet's the first man to get in there on a 26.925. Still more to come from cars behind now. Jake Benham in P4 on the 27.5. Brendan Lee 27.0. There he is up in the top end. And Barry Broumand 1,000th behind his teammate, 26.926. You cannot separate these two. Ronhaar's on a 27.068, but Longuet with the first run is just by the finest of margins in front of his teammate, but currently, provisionally, Ferrari 1-2 with an Alfa Romeo in third.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this, Bari Broumand, a mere thousandth of a second off teammate Nicolas Longuet, folks. Both of them setting near enough identical lap times, so 26.925 for Longuet, Bari Broumand at 26.926, and then you've got in third Danny Berejne, well within a tenth of a second, 63 thousandths to be exact. Thomas Ronhaar, not even in the same postcode, currently over a tenth, very nearly 1.5 tenths. Brendan Lee even going faster than the Dutchman as well, but it's Nicolas Longuet who currently holds all the cards. I tell you what, Jack, your idea of Longuet getting pole might not be such a bad idea.
Sometimes I do say stuff that's correct. Not all the time. But yeah, Longuet, I mean, well, I say he has an advantage. He just barely at the moment. But you would imagine that the guys behind, there's still a bit more in the tank. And impressive stuff from Danny Berejne. Again, only 600ths off a pole position for Danny Berejne currently. And a bit of confidence starting to show in that Alfa Romeo as well. We are hearing that Ronhaar did have quite a large moment in the final corner, so we'll see. I would expect that Ronhaar will get close, and very close to those times. So these are now going to be, the in-laps are currently underway, and everybody's going to peel into the pits, and we will have very much the last calm before the storm of the season, and now is your only chance to lock in your pole position predictions now, everyone at home. The last qualifying session of the season, Longuet, Broumand, Berejne, Lee, Ronhaar, the top 5. This is just settle in. This is the calm before the storm.
I mean, how nervous are you, Jack? If you're any other team that compete in F1 esports, you see two Scuderia Ferraris currently holding onto the front row. You know, in a league which, by no doubt, certainly does mirror that of the F1 Esports Championship. Having someone like Nicolas Longuet, who we know is quick, has had a long history in the world of league racing, F1 Esports as well. Bari Broumand, who we know is quick, has been quick now for a good couple of years. To have those two in the Ferraris up at the top end, locking at the front row with a mere thousand separating them, if you're any other team, does that strike fear into the heart of you?
Well, you're looking at it, aren't you, for next season? Or you're taking notes of these guys up the front. But again, you can't let it get to you, because surely there's still time left on the board. So you can never rule yourself out of contention just by seeing the two Ferraris. But obviously, you will see, we'll be looking at how strong that qualifying performance is. Cars back out on the circuit for the final time this season. Qualifying is underway here in Bahrain. Longuet's out on the circuit. The first car out on the circuit that will be getting us underway is Philipp Preschneider in Q3. We didn't mention him much, but great to see him in Q3 again. Struggled at the start of the season to even get out of Q1, and has found something in the last part of this season and brought himself back into contention. But this is wonderful to see Longuet, Broumand, Berejne, and especially for me, George, Brendan Lee fighting for pole.
Brilliant to see. And certainly, I tell you what, if geese had bumps, Jack Canan, I've got goosebumps. I tell you that now. Q3 now, 1.5 minutes still remain here at Sakhir. The Bahrain Grand Prix qualifying session has got off with a blast. The Ferraris showing their class. Certainly both of them up in the top end. Ps1 and Ps2 here for Nicolas Longuet and Bari Broumand. This is what we all came to see. Some of the best drivers in the world battling it out to become true greats in the world of league racing. It's going to be Philipp Preschneider who takes them round here on their final flying laps here. Opens up the rear wing. The DRS is open. Where's it going, Jack? Who's getting pole position? Could it be Preschneider?
Well, it certainly could be if he finds a hell of a chunk of time, and he's on his new tyres now, of course. So we'll have plenty of new rubber underneath all of his wheels, of course. So Philipp Preschneider will be looking to get a big improvement. 27.6 currently, but we know he's got more in the tank there as he comes through. The fast right-hander here on the left-hand side doesn't want to invalidate on the exit here as he comes through a tenth of a second up on his best currently. 28.1. We have seen 28 zeros in that sector before, so about a tenth down. And I remember seeing that 28.0 from a certain Danny Berejne not too long ago in Q2. We've got a lot to keep our eyes on in this final part of qualifying. 28-0 for Longue in that first sector. Again, for him, 28-0 for Broumand, slightly quicker than Longue through that sector, actually. And keeping my eye on Ronhaar coming through that sector now as well as it comes to the right-hander. What is it for Ronhaar currently? 28-0, a tiny bit quicker. Purple in the first sector for Ronhaar. So now, this is going to be a hell of a run to the line between those three. They're all within the same tenth of a second, within the same half of a tenth of a second, those three. So watch your screens and don't take your eyes off them. Philip Preschneider runs out wide on the exit of the last corner. That will affect his run to the line now. Preschneider across the line, only improves to 8th. He won't be happy with that. Next up though is Beresnay. He's up by a 10th. This is going to be a hell of a lap from Beresnay. 26.880. Beresnay on provisional pole here in Bahrain in the final round. Pedreño in P7. Here come the Ferraris. Nicolas Longue up to the line now for the final time. It's going to be a 26.9, not enough to take pole. Broumand crossing the line now. It's pole for Bari Broumand, 26.724. But now the last card across the line in just a few moments' time. Ronhaar up to the line for the last time here in PSGL. He's going to do it. No, he's not. It's Broumand on pole by just a couple of hundredths of a second. Broumand from Ronhaar is your front row here in Bahrain, and just 300ths in the difference, but Broumand has done the job. He's on pole for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Teammate Nicolas Longue down in P3, but what a shootout. It's Bari Broumand.
Can you taste the tension, folks? It is in the air. 2 purple sectors for Bari Broumand in 2 and 3. Gave him the lap time of a 126.724, 28 thousandths quicker than Thomas Ronhaar in second place. Incredible scenes here. Haas on the front row alongside Ferrari. Both Ferrari powered, but it's Bari Broumand, the championship leader, 3-point lead advantage over Thomas Ronhaar, his championship conspirer in second place. Danny Beresnay, what a lap, folks, just outside 1.5 tenths, but third place, second row alongside Nicolas Longue. But what a grid, what a lineup. I'm looking forward to it, folks. I hope you are too. But before we get into all that, just a quick break. We'll be right back. Well, are you gobsmacked? Are you gobsmacked? We're gobsmacked, folks. I tell you what, lots happening here tonight at PSGL. We're about to go racing here for the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Keep it with us, folks. The timer is ticking down. We're looking forward to hitting the streets of Bahrain, well, certainly the track of Bahrain. The concrete is certainly going to feel the rumble of cars here for the final time in the PSGL PCF1 Championship. Please keep your eyes peeled, folks. We're about to go racing. Bari Broumand on the front row alongside Thomas Ronhaar. The championship up for grabs. And it will be, without a doubt, pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Bari Broumand gets away well. So does Thomas Ronhaar. Bari Beresnay there in behind as well, with Nicolas Longue in hot pursuit too. But Thomas Ronhaar with the tiger line as they share the whole entire compounds through turns 1, 2, very soon 3. Ronhaar leads here at Bahrain. Bari Broumand in second. Danny Beresnay in third as well. There's a car running off wide. We've lost one. Who is it? I think it might be Marcel Kiefer. Kiefer is off. You got Jake Benham and Brendan Lee, the 2 silver arrows side by side through turns 5, 6 and 7. Lee with a nose in front, the 2-time F1 Esports champion, gets ahead of his teammates, and look at Philip Preschneider taking advantage of the situation. But Ronhaar leads, Jack Canan.
Yeah, he absolutely nails the start. He knew he needed to nail it, and he did nail it, and got in front of Broumand in towards turn 1. Beresnay holding there in P3. Moment for Philip Preschneider on the exit of the left-hander, and he drops down behind Jake Benham in that end. He has to secede the position. Wilson Hughes trying to come through on the same time as well, not able to do that. But George, how about Lucas Blakely, 20th to 12th, and we're not even at the end of the first lap yet.
Oh, incredible. Remember, he's doing the last to first. I tell you what, Lucas Blakely, currently sat here. There he is, folks, the current F1 Esports champion, down the inside already of Matthias van Erven. Overtake button on without a shadow of a doubt as he looks to go full send on those medium tyres. Needs to make them work for him. He might have just done so. An incredible move from Lucas Blakely. Moves himself up into 11th place in one single solitary lap. 9 places gained. The Scot is absolutely flying, Jack.
He certainly is using those mediums to good effect in towards turn 1. There's another move from the Scotsman down the inside of Ismail Fassi into turn 1 and into the points. He goes. Pedreño is retired in the pit lane. That is a shame to end his unfortunate first lap, and Marcel Kiefer as well getting a speeding penalty. But Ronhaar got the start, got in front of Broumand, but I think Broumand is not going to be too is not going to be too displeased to be behind Ronhaar at this stage, because historically it's better to be in second place around here at Bahrain, because if we remember at the time he took his victory here in Bahrain, he did so on the final lap of the race, and Lucas Blakely another move on his teammate Wilson Hughes.
Yeah, that looks slightly easier. You do wonder whether Wilson Hughes has led him through to join in the fight. He is chasing down Philip Prejnader as they exit turn 10 and head down through towards turn 11. Wilson Hughes, obviously with Ismail Fassi right on his tail as well. Thomas Ronhaar has got an advantage of just over 0.5 of a second. That will certainly not be enough to break away from Bari Broumand, who without a doubt will surely come back at him after getting the lead from the start. Obviously, if you have that inside heading through towards turn 1, it does give you that advantage somewhat, because obviously you have the inside line. It cuts off the opportunity for Bari Broumand to take the lead of the race. So a good start was needed from Thomas Ronhaar, and he got one. Here comes Blakely again, though, down the inside. F1 Esports champion, lighting PSGL alight, here with P8 now, ahead of Philip Prejnader. Where is this man getting it from? He is sensational, Lucas Blakely. He's taking numbers, taking names here, and we're only on lap 3 of 29 here at Bahrain.
Yeah, great stuff from Lucas Blakely. Up into P8 now. On the alternate strategy, of course, we'll wait to see how strong that's going to be, if it's going to work at all. But again, may as well try it for the fun of it. He's within DRS, in the DRS train now as well. Lap 3 of 29. Now, it's incredibly early on, folks, but if it did finish the way it is right now, with Ronhaar in the lead of Bari Broumand in second place, Ronhaar is currently in position to win the title at this very exact moment. But do not think that it's going to finish like this. Danny Berezne still holding P3 very nicely. Longate in P4. Otis Lawrence holding P5 very well indeed. Brendan Lee in front of Jake Benham. Then you have Lucas Blakely having a look on Jake Benham. It's the left-hander. It's the one good thing about somebody trying an alternate strategy. It has given us something to keep our eyes on and watch an F1 Esports champion go to work on an alternate strategy on those medium tyres and see what he's capable of. But it is fantastic to see Lucas back on the grid. We haven't had him all season. The reigning champ, of course, from last season, and is now chucking it down the inside of Jake Benham. Gets a little bit of contact through the corner, but it's all fair in the end. But again, might lose DRS on the cars in front of me if they don't work it out here, but should be an easy enough move for Blakely to get this done down towards turn 1. But again, Jake's not going to be able to give this up too easily. Ronhaar, another fastest lap of the race up at the front of the field. Here comes Blakely now on those medium tyres, tucking into the up behind the rear end of the Mercedes, pulls alongside. Nothing Jake Benham can do about that, and it's P7 for the reigning champ.
Super pace there from Lucas Blakely on display. The man who would go on to take his very first F1 Esports crown, now looking to make a charge here in this top order of things. Lap 4 of 29, he started P20, he's now P7. Incredible, 13 places gained for the Scotsman, who is now looking to make a charge on a fellow F1 Esports champion. That, of course, being Brendan Lee, who would go on to take the title in 2017 and 2018 in those famed Mercedes colours that he is so familiar with, as they now make their way down in towards turns 9 and 10. Kiefer now taking the fastest lap of the race himself on fresher medium tyres. Ronhaar now hurtling down through towards turn 11 with Bari Broumand still in hot pursuit. He hasn't broken the fast Iranian. He's still within 4/10. Bari Broumand is not shaken off just yet. Ronhaar will need a little help from elsewhere.
Certainly will, yeah. Broumand again, like I said, he's quite happy to sit behind because, like I said, historically the lead has changed on the final lap of the race here in Bahrain. But again, won't want to sit behind for too long. Berezne is well holding station in third, watching and waiting should something happen in front. going on to lap number 5 of 29 here in Bahrain in the title decider. And we'll see if any more positions can be made by Lucas Blakely or anyone else for that matter. In fact, Lucas Blakely gets himself a fastest lap of the race to boot on those medium tyres, making them to use in good effect for the reigning champion of PSGL and the reigning F1 Esports champion as well. Took a win here before as well. So let's see if he can get himself any further up the order in this part of the race. A couple of pit stops further down. Marcel Kiefer, of course, came in early. Chanakinchi's just been in to put on soft tyres. That's an interesting choice for Chanakinchi there. We'll see if well, that's obviously going to take a lot to get those through to another phase, but we'll see in due course how that works as Blakely gets very close to the rear end of Brendan Lee in the Mercedes. But it is great to see Lucas back on the grid once again, even for the one-stop appearance, but I'm sure we'll see him back for a full season next time.
Absolutely right indeed. Already 2 stops for Chanakinchi, as you can see. Started on the hard tyres, went on the mediums, now on the softs. As now we're watching Barry Broumand on board as he hunts down Thomas Ronhaar. The gap still within 0.5 of a second, and trying to at least advance the charge here. Danny Berejne, very patient in behind as well. 3rd place for the Hungarian. Nicolas Longuet, of course, being Barry Broumand's teammate, currently lodged in 4th place too. This is working out perfectly here for Barry Broumand. As long as he stays here, he's in with a great chance. Lucas Blakely getting very close and personal with Brendan Lee. 2 F1 Esports champions coming together here at PSGL. Certainly this time though, Lucas Blakely won't leave anything undone here, without a shadow of a doubt. Inside line for the Scotsman as they headed towards turn 1. It's Blakely, the Blakely bomber. He's on top here in P6, ahead there of Brendan Lee. 2 Mercedes dispatched, and Barry Broumand's got a problem. He's left the session.
You are joking.
Unbelievable.
You are joking.
He's ghosting, Jack.
You are joking.
He's ghosting. He's ghosting.
That is a joke. That is a joke. Barry Broumand has had a game crash once again, and that, unfortunately, unless something happens in the next while, that is going to bring an end to his title charge for Barry Broumand again for Barry Broumand, and that is not how we wanted to end it.
He's having problems, Jack, and certainly now that car is filtering lower and lower within the field. This is unbelievable. We all said that there would be drama here tonight. This isn't the type of drama we were looking for. Barry Broumand now, due to a technical issue, has now seen himself drop down through the field. Chanakinchi taking the fastest lap on his soft tyres. Of course, he's too far out of the equation to even be considered for a race win at this point. I can tell you that Barry Broumand has rejoined and is back in the session. Hopefully he can reclaim the car and effectively try and rein in the gaps that he lost, the time, the positions that he lost as well. Thomas Ronhaar still in front. Danny Berejne trying to let fly after him. Jake Benham goes on through past Barry Broumand, as does Brendan Lee. Just look at them, every single one of them now heading down through towards turn 1. Incredible scenes here, Jack. He's taken back control of the car just ahead of Wilson Hughes, but has that thrown his chances of taking the title?
Yeah, pretty much, and that's unfortunate to say, but that is pretty much game over unless something drastic happens out front. Ronhaar's in prime position now to take this championship, and once again it happened in Kota, and it's happened again for Barry Broumand in prime position out at the front, and has nothing gone his way once again. Another season where nothing has gone right for him in the end, but again it's got a huge uphill battle for this, but unfortunately that is the end of the title battle unless something happens out front. Ronhaar leads, Berejne second, and then we have Longuet up in third, so we'll keep our eyes on this now, but Berejne has not let Ronhaar go out front. Longuet sticking with them as well. Otis Lawrence and Lucas Blakely now in P5, trying to get himself in the mix up at the front end. Of course, that would have helped him gain a free position here. And we've had another retirement, Chanakinchi in the pit lane for coming in to the pits while he was trying to get in. So Blakely now in P5 on those medium tyres, in a good position here. But right now, Ronhaar out in front. He would have thanked the racing gods right there. He's in the lead, and all he knows now just needs to maintain as big of a gap as possible to Broumand, and he walks away with the title.
Yeah, just look at this now though. Lucas Blakely on a charge once again, holds on to P5. Surely P4 would be a lovely number to add to his locker as well. Lap 8 of 29, Lucas Blakely top 4. Incredible, 16 places since the start of this race, and now charging on Nicolas Longuet for a potential podium place as well. Who'd have thought this from the Scotsman, who has arrived here in his first league race at PSGL in such a long time, and has come back and cemented his place here in the top 4 as well on lap 8 of 29. Incredible stuff here. Welcome back, Lucas Blakely.
Absolutely, welcome back, Lucas Blakely, and he could potentially be the spanner in the works for Ronhaar out front if he gets close enough. So let's see what happens. But the key point here is Bari is still running. He's in P9, so still scoring points right now. For him to win the title at this point, he needs Ronhaar to drop down to at least P5 for that to happen. So there's still a possibility here for Bari. Just needs to keep his head in the game, but that would have been a devastating blow, because I was riding on board. His AI started using all of the ERS that he just saved for no particular reason. He's burned through a lot of it now, sits P9, so has got an uphill task in front of him now, but all he can do is keep his head down, and let's see if something happens later on. But he still has his teammate up in P3, Nicolas Longuet, who might be able to get something happening out front here. We've seen the teamwork between the teammates before, and in reality, there still isn't that much between them. I mean, Broumand's going through turn 1 right now, and Ronhaar is currently just exiting turn 3, so he's still not completely out of it yet, but has a lot of his hard work that he did in qualifying just completely undone.
Yeah, I mean, what we've still got to remember is, though, Jack, we've had adversity before in this championship. Remember Austria when the two came together, and it would be, of course, Thomas Ronhaar who got chucked down into P5. What I can show you as well, folks, if you look at the tyre graphic, Lucas Blakely nurturing those medium tyres very well indeed. He's only 5% higher in the wear in places in comparison to that of Otis Lawrence, so doing a tremendous job in nurturing them in this initial stint. But going back to what I was saying, Jack, the Austrian race, where of course we saw them come together. Remember, Ronhaar lost all those places. He was able to fight back and get them back as well. So did Bari Broumand when he had his issues. So there is still a chance for Bari Broumand to get back into the fight. May I remind you as well, folks, he's still in the top 10. He still has DRS on Philip Prejnader. It's just a patience game. I get the feeling when the pit stops are applied, it might be a case that they employ the tactics at Ferrari, maybe bring Longuet into the mix, get him to slow Ronhaar down. We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's still plenty to play for here in Bahrain. So stay with us as we head through this next part of the race, because there's an uphill battle for Bari Broumand to get through the field now if he wants to keep himself in the championship hunt right here. Alfie Butcher with a 3-second penalty, but Lucas Blakely holding station in P4 currently. Again, he's on a different strategy on the medium tyre. Alfie Butcher into the pit lane now as he boxes off of his hard tyres. He's going to retire from the session as well. That brings an end to Alfie Butcher's session, which is quite unfortunate for him. But now a chance now. Broumand staying in the DRS train, of course, has a chance to try and recoup all of that ERS that got dumped on him by his AI when it took over. But there is still time on the board, and of course we still have the possibility of safety cars, of all of that to come in this race. So it is. So again, this isn't the first time this has happened to Broumand. Remember back to Kota, where Jarno took that sensational win from 15th on the grid. It all really stemmed from a disconnect from that man who was leading quite comfortably at the front. Yeah, absolutely right. It can happen to anybody, folks. We've seen it time and time again. Unfortunately, it's inflicted Bari one or two many times before, and now we're seeing Danny Berejne in second place now as a result, chasing after Thomas Ronhaar with Nicolas Longuet in behind as well. Lucas Blakely still dialed in behind the Ferrari of Nicolas Longuet, lap 10 of 29. Still plenty more to come. Lots here around the corner in PSGL F1 PC. Otis Lawrence in P5 as well, having another great race. Again, patience for the Red Bull driver with Brendan Lee in behind him. Jake Benham in 7th as well as they head down this long straight. Lucas Blakely once again primed and ready. Can he make yet another move, or is he going to stick in behind that of Nicolas Longuet? Be patient, wait for the pit stop phase, and then unleash on the second stint. Oh, a lock up there from Lucas Blakely, very nearly costing him massively. He very nearly went into the back of Nicolas Longuet and was very nearly overtaken by Otis Lawrence. A major moment heading through turn 1 that effectively very nearly pushes Blakely outside of DRS. Yeah, that was a scary moment for Blakely. Pushed a little too much on the brakes, and Otis Lawrence nearly capitalising on the cutback underneath, but just about managed to keep himself in front. But again, still seems to have control on those mediums, still looking pretty good in that P4, not falling off massively, but still patience being shown by the top three here. Ronhaar still in control on lap number 11 of 29. Berezne still holding second. Longue still holding a really solid third place at the moment. Lucas Blakely in fourth. Then Otis Lawrence. Then the two Mercedes of Brendan Lee and Jake Benham. Preschneider, Broumand and Wilson Hughes. And what will be a sigh of relief almost for Broumand is he's managed to just get out of DRS. Well, almost of Wilson Hughes behind. So he doesn't have that threat from behind. And if anything, he's going to be completely fired up and just go for it from now.
Yeah, absolutely right. Lap 11 of 29. We're not even at the halfway point yet, folks. Of course, we've got plenty more to come. Pit stops have still yet to be applied to the top end. We've seen many pit stops down at the bottom end, unfortunately losing 3 cars as well. Alfie Butcher, Chanakinchi, Ruben Pedreño of sorts as well. As Lucas Blakely's tyres very nearly touching that 50% barrier. Very soon he's going to think about pitting. We're on lap 12 of 29. Around lap 13, Jack, do you think Blakely might bring his car in for a pit stop?
Well, either that, or he's obviously going to try and bring these as long as he can. And really, seems like he's still in the tyre conservation mode. He's lifting through the corners, not attacking. So just trying to maintain this position for as long as he can to get something done here. We just saw as well, Broumand up into 8th now. Preschneider let him go on the straight, didn't fight him at all, and is now up behind Jake Benham, 3rd place in the championship. And I don't think this move is going to be as easy as the move that he got done on Philip Preschneider. So P8 for Broumand at the moment, and realistically now, the only way he's going to gain positions is, well, obviously he can pass them on track, but now strategists and all that need to be thinking about the pit strategy now. What do you do if you're Broumand? You're P8, you've got a lot of cars in front of you. What do you do? Do you box early? Do you go long?
Well, they say that the overcut strategy is actually the more powerful one, certainly here on this platform. So whether Broumand stays out, adopts a fairly long in the tooth scenario when it comes to making overtakes, there is an opportunity for him to do so in the pit stop phase. And in fact, we're just seeing him get very close to the back of Jake Benham as they now make their way down across the DRS line. Rear wing opens up now. Bari Broumand looking to make yet another overtake, this time though on Jake Benham as they head down through towards turn 1, getting ever closer to being in proximity to take the title. Needs to continue this upward curve, try and reclaim the positions that he's lost as the timer keeps ticking onwards. He knows that it's a race against time, a race against Thomas Ronhaar to decide who will win the title.
Absolutely, yeah. But unfortunately for him, in his current scenario, no matter what he does, Ronhaar is going to win the title. He needs Ronhaar to drop down the order a bit more. He needs a tax to be put on by Berezne, by Longue, by Blakely. So, and again, we can't rule that out. So this is still going to be down to the wire between these two. And Broumand, which is, again, the fighting spirit from the Iranian, he hasn't given up. And he's still pushing on here in P7. Thankfully, didn't pick up any damage or anything like that once his AI took over. Didn't drop outside the points. Is in P7 and is chasing Brendan Lee now. Is obviously the man who he has almost kind of swapped seats with. Brendan, of course, leaving Ferrari. Broumand hopping in there. Brendan now part of R8G. So this is now a case, these two fighting it out for P6. Lap 13 of 29. Blakely still looking good in P4. And I have to say, those tyres, there is blistering, absolutely, but they don't look overly bad at the moment, and he's not losing really any time.
No, he's maintained his position, Jack. The time delta has pretty much remained the same. The pit window is open for Bari Broumand, which is interesting, onto the medium tyres. Very, very early call. Well, pit window is open for those on the medium tyres, should I say. So very likely Lucas Blakely may choose to box now, but we'll have to wait and see whether he will continue. If he feels comfortable on this set of tyres, he may as well continue, Jack, because currently, still within DRS range, he is currently hunting the back of Nicolas Longue. But you do have to wonder what he's going to decide to do, because surely he'll have to switch onto the hard tyres, or maybe does he take them longer and go onto the soft? Who knows?
I think that's what he's thinking, George, I'll be honest. I think he's going to try, I mean, why not? Why not try something totally outrageous?
Well, he's in P4.
To go to the softs. He's in P4.
Don't want to sacrifice track position at this point. He is in P4. He's got to go. I suppose you're right. Yeah, go for the soft tyres. I suppose just get as many laps down as possible. I mean, how many laps is that? I mean, ideally he needs to get 6 under his belt.
Yeah, you would think so. Like, he is looking after those tyres very well, not losing time, still maintaining about a 50% DRS charge, but we'll see. Those tyres could fall off a cliff, though, very quickly. So we'll see in due course, but it'll either be, obviously, either hards or softs for Lucas Blakely going into this next phase. But still out front, lap 14 to 29. We're at half distance now. Ronhaar still leading, Beresnay second, and still holding second very well indeed. Nicholas Longuet in P3, Lucas Blakely in fourth on the alt strategy, Otis Lawrence in P5, Brendan Lee, Barry Broumand after his disconnect down in seventh, Jake Benham in P8, Philip Freshetter P9, and Wilson Hughes inside the top 10. So still all to play for here in Bahrain. And we're getting closer now to those pit stop phases. There will be very shortly, and you'll see now attacks will start to be made. And again, crucially for Barry, getting out of that DRS to Jake Benham behind again.
Yeah, absolutely right. Lucas Blakely currently sat in fourth place, looking mightily strong. Now remember, as we said before, if Lucas Blakely wanted to box, he would have done so already. You would have thought if it pretty much lined up with his strategy. Obviously, we saw the pit window opening for those on the medium tyres. If he goes longer, it will of course allow him to chase an almighty charge on the softs to effectively maybe take a race win in this situation. Of course, maybe a win might be a bit far-fetched, maybe a podium, certainly decent points on the table. But let's wait and see. Certainly Otis Lawrence right in behind him. Brendan Lee in 6 as well. There's Barry Broumand heading up through towards turn 11. Turn 12 coming up soon as well. Plenty more to come. Ronhaar still in the lead, but not convincingly. 6/10 is the gap still between him and Danny Beresnay, who was showing reasonable pace in qualifying. We saw him taking purple sectors as well, very nearly setting the fastest lap of all in Q2, but unable to do it after spinning at that point, heading out of Sector 2 into Sector 3. But nonetheless, opportunities in abundance for everybody here. Barry Broumand still in the mix. Almost a feint there from the McLarens looking to make a pit stop, but already I think Jake Benham is going to come in. I did see the Mercedes, I think, coming in. Yes, Jake Benham in the pits, Jack Canan.
And Longuet, crucially Longuet as well from the Ferrari. So he's coming in first. He's the leading Ferrari, so he gets preference in that regard. But Longuet pitting and Benham pitting as well. So Jake obviously following Longuet in there. But that is now a move that's triggering the first round of pit stops now. So does Ronhaar respond immediately, or does he stay out? And what does Beresnay do as well? Obviously he's going to try something here as well, but that is interesting because Blakely's still out there on those mediums as well, and Longuet's come in before the medium tyres have actually finished their runs. But I will say those mediums look like they're well past their sell-by date on Lucas Blakely's McLaren at the moment. You can sort of see the lines running down the rear end of the tyres and everything. He's using those tyres up. They are starting to fall off the cliff now, I think, losing time to the leaders, using up all of his ERS. I would expect now Blakely to come in very soon. He'll be switching on to a different set of tyres, of course, but interesting stuff. Longuet pitting early then to try and make something happen here in Bahrain, and it looks like, I think, Ronhaar and Beresnay are pushing on here, looking like they're using up a good chunk of ERS here. So let's see, does Ronhaar and Beresnay respond immediately to Longuet's pit stop coming down the straight now? If Ronhaar's going to come into the pits, Beresnay's going to follow, Blakely's also going to come in as well, but Otis Lawrence, he's going to stay out and go long. So now we're going to wait and see what does Broumand do. He stays out and goes long.
Well, the hammer is dropping here. There it's Nicholas Longuet, and he is sending it down now towards the final two corners. Now, where is Thomas Ronhaar? There he is in the pits now. Ventures out of his pit bay, of course, leading the race here on his in-lap. But also now we've got to throw into the mix the fact that Nicholas Longuet is also sending it down through towards turn 1 as they now venture out of the pit lane. There's Ronhaar's Haas as they circle now into lap 17 of 29. It's all kicking off. There, of course, is the car of Danny Beresnay, the Alfa Romeo. Thomas Ronhaar out without a hitch, but now it's all going to kick off here because Ronhaar knows he needs to get those tyres warm in his quest for the title. But just look at the stream of cars in front of him, Jack.
Beresnay let Longuet go, let him straight through, no fight whatsoever, but that just shows you, George, Ronhaar was miles clear, so the overcut certainly looks like it's stronger. So Broumand staying out, Lawrence staying out as well, but Longuet was given absolutely no fight by Danny Beresnay. He let him straight through, and Longuet now trying to close up to the rear of that Haas, get himself back into DRS. That was a move for second place, don't forget, to keep that in mind.
Overtakes on, Jack.
As well. An overtake is certainly on now. There is, again, he's inside that DRS, and Longe will start attacking Ronhaar. So let's see what the leaders do now. Otis Lawrence out of the final corner. Is he going to come in now? He is. Is Broumand going to follow him? No, he's carrying on. He's trying something different here. He needs to try something different. And I reckon, George, I know what's happening. Longe's going to attack Ronhaar, trying to back him up.
He certainly is, Jack. He's gone purple in the second sector. Longe's only got one thing on his mind, and that is to upset the title advantage for Thomas Ronhaar. Of course, Bari Broumand currently leads this race. I think, Jack, I just think Barry's going to stay out for as long as possible, give Longe a chance to slow him down. This is what could be a genius strategy between the Ferrari pairing. We know that they've worked together before. We've seen it increasingly since they've announced their Ferrari positions this season. Ever since they've worked together here in PSGL, they've been working in tandem, trying to exploit the best possible results for either one of them. And now Longe has the potential of serving Bari Broumand a potential championship charge. We'll have to wait and see.
And look who he's caught, George.
Interesting.
Dylan Warren. He's putting the defence up. Remember what happened between these two last time. Dylan Warren running Ronhaar out of room. These two have history before, and Warren is getting in the way of Thomas Ronhaar for position. He's well within his right to, but he's backed him up right into the path of Nicholas Longe behind, and that is exactly what he wants to see. Look at this, backing up the championship contender right here. There's nothing he can do. There's no way through. There's the switch back from Ronhaar. He gets himself through, but that's crucial time lost by Thomas Ronhaar. Dylan Warren putting up the defence, and would you expect now, still no pit stop from Bari Broumand yet. He's trying to go long here, but that is crucial time lost on the way through the middle sector. Dylan Warren put up the fight, and Longe now has to also try and make his way through, but that was crucial stuff there. Those two have history, and once again Warren was not letting him through, and he's on the attack again.
He does. He is on the attack again, certainly, Jack. Now Dylan Warren with a great chance here. Side by side now in towards turn one. The Alfa Romeo putting the squeeze on the Haas. They're going together side by side. They squeeze onto the curb. Contact between the pair. Dylan Warren now looking to upset the chances for the Haas. Both powered by Ferrari in this, what certainly is an absolutely gargantuan affair. Contact through turn four. They come together again. Here comes Nicholas Longe. 3 wide now. Heading through turns 5, 6 and 7. Bari Broumand, he doesn't know what's happening, but I tell you one thing, I tell you what, all of them are out and about to try and open up this championship charge.
Oh, Ronhaar is having absolutely... He's got a penalty! He's got a penalty! Ronhaar's got a 5-second penalty for gaining a place off the road. Now, that will have to go to the stewards, but he's got a penalty. 5 seconds for Thomas Ronhaar running off the road. Was he forced off the road? Of course, that will be taken into account. But Ronhaar now, that brings even more drama into this title contender fight right here between Ronhaar and Broumand. But again, Dylan Warren playing once again with Ronhaar around that lap. Broumand is still carrying on here. Is he going on to the softs, you reckon, or is he carrying on for even longer? Philip Prestater is into the pit lane now, but this is now Ronhaar having absolutely everything thrown at him here.
And Longe
is on the attack now, in behind him, in the Ferrari. DRS open here. Is he going to sit behind, or will he go for the move? Here comes Nicholas Longe on the inside for the net race lead. Up the inside goes the Ferrari. Ronhaar goes around the outside. Longe leaves him space on the inside. Still neck and neck between the Ferrari and the Haas on the exit. DRS will open for Ronhaar this time. He was just slightly behind, and Ronhaar just about hangs on to the net race lead. But this is all playing into the hands of Broumand. He just needs to keep himself going. He'll drop into the fight, of course. He'll drop behind these guys, but that will have cost them time. And Longe attacking Ronhaar with everything he's got now.
But he's still within DRS, Jack. This will not be the last time they come together, that's for sure. 5 seconds of penalties applied to Thomas Ronhaar. Both Danny Beresne and Nicholas Longe in formation in behind that of the Haas as they whip around turn 10. Turn 11 coming up after this one. The Frenchman with the DRS open up, chasing after Thomas Ronhaar, who does not have DRS on East Van Pookie, who's ahead of him. Still traffic in between him and Bari Broumand, who is still yet to come in, Jack. And you must figure soft tyres are in the mind's eye of Bari Broumand, in which case may give him the greatest chance in the world of snatching the title here at this point.
In he comes. Broumand is in the pit lane now. Crucial pit stop for Ferrari here. And are those soft tyres? Yes, they are. Broumand is going onto the soft tyres for this last run here in this title fight. He's going to drop behind all of these guys, but he will be on brand new soft tyres. Settle in. There goes the big train of Longuet, Ronhaar and co. But Broumand is going to be in this fight on brand new softs in behind, trying to make a position. He's trying to come out just neck and neck with Jake Benham, of course, needs to keep that position and does do so. So now it's all on the line. Ronhaar and Longuet up the front, Broumand on fresh softs. There is just 8 more laps left in this season. Who's going to take it?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Matthijs van Erven still leading the front, though. And I tell you what, another Haas in the fray as well, Jack Kinnan. I don't think we've seen the last of this. Longuet in third as well. Danny Berejne. What are we going to see here? Because Matthijs, of course, being Ronhaar's teammate, does he automatically let Ronhaar through here?
Well, this is the stuff, of course. We had the Ferraris working with Broumand, so you would expect now Matthijs to stay out as long as he possibly can and just cause a nuisance in a way, cause problems for the leaders here, give Ronhaar DRS to try and stay in front of Longuet and co in that regard. So keep your eyes on this. But Ronhaar, despite all of this, is still in the net race lead, is still at the front, and now he's going to have the helping hand of Matthijs van Erven up at the front now with DRS to try and stay in front here. He'll get the benefit of it here as he comes out of the final corner. And Matthijs will stay out. He's going to cause a nuisance of himself here for the cars behind. So there'll be no fight put up here between Ronhaar and Van Erven, but I don't think the same can be said now for Longuet. Matthijs now is going to try and close the door. Longuet's looking though on the inside contact through the corner, and that's going to give him an opportunity now. Around the outside goes Longuet, but that's going to cost him crucial time up towards the next part of the corner. Matthijs trying to do everything to try to keep them behind here, and they're still now shutting the door on the Ferrari side by side to the middle of the corner. Longuet's gone all the way around the outside. He's got a penalty for cutting the corner to the middle of the corner now. That's giving Ronhaar crucial breathing space. 3-second penalty for Longuet, and Ronhaar is clear of DRS now. The teammate working with his teammate there, and that is exactly what you would have expected from those two. But now, surely it's in the lap of Ronhaar now.
It is, absolutely. He holds the lead now here on track here in this race. 5 seconds of penalties applied. Obviously, that will go to the stewards. Nicolas Longuet also with 3 seconds to his name, Jack, but he's lost the DRS on the Haas in front, so it's Ronhaar's race to run here now. Barry Broumand still quite a ways behind, has broken within DRS of Lucas Blakely. Of course, the two of them, former teammates at McLaren, and would contribute towards Lucas Blakely winning his F1 Esports title. So many storylines, so much drama, everything here on a plate. Are you not entertained, folks, here for the Premier Sim Gaming League's PCF1 Championship? It is absolutely sensational. We've seen everything. We've still got, though, a magic 7 laps remaining, and in comes Matthijs van Erven. He's pitting now, Jack.
He's done his duty for his teammate there, has Matthijs van Erven, and of course there will be, I think he's going to own a beer for that one after the antics were played before on Ronhaar. So again, all is fair in love and war around here in PSGL, and Longuet now is out of the DRS of Ronhaar, and he's going to struggle. So Ronhaar just needs to maintain exactly where he is. And remember, he does have that 5-second penalty, but you would expect that. Once that goes to the stewards, you would expect that to get removed, providing there was mitigation for it. But we can't count out a charging Barry Broumand, who is behind Lucas Blakely now, but still has a lot of work to do to get up to the rear of the cars in front. And we still can't count it out now, but as it stands right now, Ronhaar is going to win the title by just a couple of points, but Broumand is still not out of it. Still in P7 on fresh softs. He's got Lucas Blakely in front of him now, 2.5 then to the top guys, but I think it might just be a gap that's just too big with 2 little laps left.
Yeah, and there's a gap between Blakely that sits at 1.5 seconds between him and Brendan Lee. A 3-second time penalty being applied now to Nicolas Longuet, who is still trying to chase after Thomas Ronhaar. I get the feeling that he's just trying to put everything into this now, Jack. Longuet obviously just trying to bridge the gap between him and Thomas Ronhaar to give Barry a chance. I tell you what, it's kicking off here. I would say everything sorted now, everything is pretty much out on the table. Bari Broumand now making a move on Lucas Blakely. Moves up into P6 ahead of the Scotsman now and giving chase after Brendan Lee as well. The Ferrari still has an awful lot of work to do. 5 laps of magic still remain. 5-second penalty for Wilson Hughes as well, who has also had a very difficult race. I tell you what, time penalty springing up left, right and centre. But what a race this has been, Jack. So much drama.
Yeah, we have Marcel Kiefer, who's got a puncture. We've got Marcel Kiefer down the back, who's got a puncture in the last sector. The left rear
not a safety car, surely
gone. No, I don't think so. He's carried on, but he has got quite a large puncture on the rear end of that Red Bull. Took those tyres too far. Lap 24 of 29. Another penalty for Longuet. So it's just, again, more positions falling down. But again, big task ahead of Bari Broumand now. 1.6 seconds is the gap up to the guys in front, and they all have got DRS on each other, so he needs these guys to start fighting it out with each other. But it's all completely irrelevant unless he gets himself in front of Ronhaar, which looks, the more laps that go by, the less likely it seems. But Longuet, again, is not giving up the chase. He's still chasing after Ronhaar. He's just outside of DRS now, but again, Ronhaar is in control, has been since lap 1. He's had everything thrown at him, just needs to hang on for a few more laps.
Yeah, well, Longuet is trying every which way to try and regain the delta. I tell you what, extending the curbs as well. He is getting penalised for every single one he does cut. But still, nevertheless, he knows what's at stake. He knows that Bari Broumand is in this title fight, and this is the Ferrari teamwork that we have seen oh so often, as now we're seeing Ronhaar now lead the way. 1.2 seconds now, still the advantage. Longuet chopping at that wood, trying to bring that delta downwards. As you can see him there, extending out of turn 4 as well, Jack. Another 3-second penalty. The Ferrari game's at work here.
Yeah, he's literally just doing it to try and catch up, but is just not able to. Again, so it's not working. The tactics are not working, and unfortunately for Bari, he's not gaining any time on the guys in front. Those softs are already starting to go off. So with every lap that ticks by, it's another, I suppose, finger that goes onto the trophy for Thomas Ronhaar, who, despite everything thrown at him today, is still out in front, is still in the lead. Of course, there is that 5-second penalty, but we are expecting to see that removed. So let's keep our eyes on this, because he's on his way to a title, and he has fought very hard for that. Longuet is completely off the track there, trying to gain some time. He is really trying to get this delta down, but it's just not working. Ronhaar just seems to have the measure today. Lap 26 at 29. You can see him, he's literally just not on the track anymore. He's just trying to close up the gap here. We've got a car off. Dylan Warren has spun in the first sector. He's got that going again, thankfully, but again, this could still be interesting. And Blakely now, he's putting a nail in the coffin. Gets by Bari Broumand. Unfortunately, that's the charge over, I would think, for the Iranian.
That's adamant, I would say. Bari Broumand unable to close the gap, perhaps extended a little too long on those hard tyres. Nevertheless, the softs not able to bring him any closer in proximity. Pookie's retired, though. Istvan Pookie. Now, the big question is that going to bring out a safety car, or was that in the pit lane? I think it might have been the pit lane. DNF, nonetheless, for the Aston Martin, of course, who has had a superb season this year, a win at Spa, closely followed up by a podium at Austria as well. Pookie certainly has been a sensation, and he's been also a standout figure this season in PSGL as well. Nicolas Longuet still using all of the circuit to try and close up to Thomas Ronhaar, but every time he tries, everything he tries, Jack, he is still unable to get closer to the Dutchman.
Certainly is, and well, Bereze is getting a free second place out of this if he sits where he is, which is well, actually, technically, well, I guess if all the penalties aren't removed, Danny Bereze, if he sits where he is, he's going to win. That is Danny Bereze if there's no penalties. But again, Longuet at this point is just blatantly running off the circuit to try and close a gap, which isn't working for him at the moment. So there's still plenty of things that need to be looked at after this. But well, I think this might just display the game cycle we've had is being shown in all its glory in these last few laps. I think this whole stream has just shown what we've had to deal with for a full season.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. I tell you what, it's pretty much been the story of the season, story of the game cycle. Thomas Ronhaar, though, here on lap 27 of 29, he is a mere 3 laps away, or 2.5 laps away from grabbing his very first PCF1 PSGL title. Nicolas Longuet in second place, trying everything to try and close the gap Obviously right now, Danny Berejne holding on to third place. 15 seconds, though, applied to Nicolas Longuet. He's very close to disqualification territory here, Jack.
Yeah, he is. Well, I think he might end up having to do that because again, I've only seen it once in all my time. There's another penalty there for Longuet as he continues to try and close the gap, which is not working at all. But we could see a disqualification here for Nicolas Longuet. Not that I think he's going to mind or care about it, but again, just trying to close up the gap and not succeeding in this last part of this race. But you can see Danny Berejne is just having a cruise behind, watching all this stuff happen in front of him. And again, with the 5 seconds, which may or may not be removed, we're not 100% certain yet. That will obviously go to the stewards. And well, unless there's an appeal made, then the penalty may stay. But Danny Berejne is sitting right now in the net race lead after the penalties are given. Longuet's going to drop outside the points, but he has got himself into DRS now. He's in the DRS of Thomas Ronhaar as Breschneider gains a position on Bari. Bari's tyres are completely gone, and Jake Benham has also retired in the pit lane, so that will be his race over as well. But Ronhaar now, a lap and a half to go. Again, had everything thrown at him at this race, and is on course for his first ever PSGL PC title, provisionally, of course, barring any inquiries and such afterwards. But again, you can't deny he's had a lot thrown at him this race and has come out in front of it all.
He has indeed, and still holds the lead despite the gap now being under a second. Now Nicolas Longuet still on full attack here, and now 21 seconds added to his name. He does have DRS here with 1 lap to go. Obviously here, lap 28 of 29, soon to be lap 29. Longuet trying to get closer and closer. Ronhaar probably very wary of that as well. The question is, how much ERS does Longuet have if he wants to cause a stir here at the end of this fascinating, what can only be described as fascinating Bahrain Grand Prix? As I said, lap 28 to 29, Danny Berejne watching on in behind, as we have seen all race long. Otis Lawrence having another stellar race on his return with Brendan Lee just in behind Lucas Blakely. Even despite not achieving a podium, still last to P6 is exceptionally good, as now Longuet looks to try and get as close as he can to the back of Thomas Ronhaar as they head down through towards turn 1 now, and for the final time they'll tackle it. Ronhaar now still leads the way. Longuet just in behind as well. He'll have DRS out of turn 3, heading down through towards turn 4. It's now or never, Jack, but Ronhaar on the cusp of taking his first title.
Yeah, he's again. There's been a collision further down between Matthias Van Erven and Dylan Warren, which is an interesting collision between those two. But I think even with this penalty, George, I think Bari is actually too far back. Even with a penalty it being put in, Bari is still too far back to capitalise on this. So Ronhaar really is definitely going to win this title no matter what happens. So coming round again, the last 2 corners, you can see Longuet running off the road, trying to stay with Ronhaar. Here is the big problem. Longuet is not going to hold on to second, obviously that'll be Danny Berejne's, but we can see now this has now been a very interesting season, for want of a better term. The battle has been between Ronhaar, but Ronhaar's got a penalty, another one, so another 3-second penalty, so he will not win this race. At the moment, Ronhaar is not going to win this race at the head of the field. Berejne is going to win this. Coming through the last corner now, he's thrown a race victory away, but it may still be enough. Let's wait to see what it is out of the final corner now. Ronhaar takes the victory on track. He will be the champion here in PSGL PC, but Berejne will win the race as he comes across the line. Danny Berejne for the first time takes a victory here in Bahrain. Otis Lawrence takes second. Brendan Lee on the podium, and Lucas Blakely from last finishes in P4. Now, with the 5 seconds, of course, the 5 seconds has been added, but no matter what, it seems to me Thomas Ronhaar has won this championship.
Well, there you have it, folks. Danny Berejne, your race winner. A fantastic result as well for the Alfa Romeo, but it will be currently, as far as we can see, Thomas Ronhaar is crowned your champion here of the PSGL PC F1 Championship. So there you have it. That's all she wrote here for this season. It has been full of drama, full of speculation, full, I've got to say, borderline insanity. It has been a crazy season, folks, a crazy game cycle. Thomas Ronhaar, though, finishes P6 after penalties applied. Obviously, some will be reviewed, I am sure, but Thomas Ronhaar is your champion. Bari Broumand did exceptionally well to challenge right to the end. Unfortunately, a technicality got in the way of a potential championship run for Bari Broumand. Again, he is usurped. I'm sure he'll win eventually. By God, he deserves it. But still, nonetheless, I'm sure in the future we'll see him come back to the top end again. Lucas Blakely will take driver of the day in accordance to the game, and he deserves that too. A fantastic, stellar drive from P20 to achieve his result as well, knifing his way through the field in the first 8 laps. But nonetheless, Danny Beresne claims his first PSGL PC win of the season and yet another podium as well. Some bright stories to be told towards the end of that, Jack Kinnan.
Absolutely, and the brightest story is Danny Beresne taking a victory. Now, folks, I do have a potential late twist in this tale.
Goodness me.
Because, just hypothetically, if neither of those penalties are removed, Bari has won the championship by a point. If neither of those have been removed, the 5 seconds and the 3 seconds. According to my calculations, Bari would win the championship by 1 point if neither are removed. But if one of them, again, if the 5 seconds is removed, obviously, then Ronhaar is the title. But that is the permutations. If it stays the way it is, Bari has won the championship. If it doesn't, and the penalties are removed, then Ronhaar has won the title. So let's wait and see.
Well, hold the phone, folks. Hold the phone. Wait until we get confirmation. PSGL, obviously, keep your eye on the social media. Let's take a little look as well at the results as well. It has been certainly a bizarre race, and by and large, I'm sure lots of you in the live chat are wondering what has been going on. I mean, we all are. We just witnessed a bizarre race. Danny Beresne is your winner on track. Otis Lawrence second. What a result for the young man. Brendan Lee, a PSGL podium to his name. Lucas Blakely in fourth as well. Philip Peresnader comes home in fifth. A great result for him. Thomas Ronhaar, your champion-elect right now until we get confirmation. The time is ticking down, folks, but Fassi, Bari Broumand, Caraton and Duncan Hofflin round out your top 10. But Jack, it's all a mystery. We don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen at this point. It's all a mystery. Any news coming from the stewards' room?
Well, I think Big C is already asking for Ronhaar's race director. Already on the case is Connor. So stay with us, folks, because we are not leaving here until we decide a champion tonight. So again,
we're staying live. We're staying live.
Would it really be a PSGL ending if we didn't have late drama at the last possible moment here in? But let's talk about the story, the great story there that I thought was great. Beresne winning first of all. Otis Lawrence back on the podium. Brendan Lee, P3, great to see him back there. Lucas Blakely has come from the back of the grid to P4 because that's just Lucas Blakely doing Lucas Blakely things. Peresnader again P5. Caraton came from 19th into the points as well. Great job by Caraton from a qualifying ban.
Absolutely.
But again, the story is, as I'm looking at our results here, Ronhaar has finished P6 after all those penalties are applied. Bari Broumand has finished P8. My calculations show Ronhaar has, with that, has scored 5 points. Bari has scored 3. That's a gap of 2 points. The gap coming in here was 3. So according to that, it could be a 1 point victory by the slimmest of margins by Bari if penalties are upheld. If they are removed, then we will be crowning Ronhaar as champion. So stay with us.
Yeah, and because we love you all in the chat as well, we're staying live until we crown a champion. We will crown a champion on air live tonight here at PSGL. We're doing it for you. We're doing it for you here, folks at home. Make sure you leave a subscribe and also leave a like as well to the stream. It has been a fascinating season. Not to mention, we have had so many major moments. But tonight, I think we'll probably go down as under the bizarre subject, Jack.
Yeah, I think so. And I think what we've sort of witnessed this evening, I said it before, but it shows what we've had to put up with for this
absolutely
this whole season. I mean, a crazy end, but again, it's just it's been a bit of a mental season. And again, we're happy to cover it. We love doing it, but I think I speak for myself, and I think I speak for Jordan. I speak for all the drivers. We're not happy to see the back of this season either.
Well, I've got my beady eyes on the. I tell you, we got Wilson Hughes in the waiting room. I'm going to bring him in because I think it'd be interesting to talk to this young man. In fact, I'm going to bring everyone in. I'm going to bring every single one of them in. We've got Wilson Hughes and Lucas Blakely joining us. I'm going to start with Lucas here because what a fascinating return for Lucas Blakely. I missed you, Lucas. I crowned you a champion for F1 Esports. That was crazy enough. Didn't get to see you this season, but what a return. A last to P4 on track, I believe.
I had to come back for one last dance, George. I mean, it was good fun.
Always a pleasure having you here. Always a pleasure having you here, Lucas.
No, I must say, I mean, that's got to be a new PB. I overtook 11 cars in 1.5 laps. That was, I don't think I'll ever beat that. That was outrageous. I don't know what happened in turn 1 and 2. We gained like 7 places in like 3 corners, and then it was just an absolute send fest for the rest of the race. Definitely went in the wrong strategy, but I was also not anticipating overtaking so many cars in such a short space of time, so that's kind of where my strategy unfolded a little bit. Had I went hard medium, I generally think we could have been actually in the fight, because I think we had good pace in general. So I mean, I don't know. It was good fun.
Oh yeah, it looked like it.
Chaos.
I mean, what was it like? P11 after the opening lap, I think it was, or something like that.
11 or I don't know. I mean, it was just cars.
I think it was 12, and then it was 11 down the straight, I think, heading on to lap 2. But regardless, it was nuts. I think if that's not a video, then I don't know what is. But still, it's
in the progress.
It's in the progress. I like to hear that. In terms of the new game cycle, obviously you've announced your plans for the new year, staying with McLaren. I think that was, without question, I think that was definitely in the cards. You're going to be lined up alongside a man who has joined us in the commentary box as well, Wilson Hughes, but also the return of the machine, Danny Moreno. He's coming back to McLaren.
Yeah, it's extremely exciting times. I mean, we've got obviously the return of, as you like to call him, the machine. You've got nicknames for practically everyone on the grid, George. So it's it's a good. Honestly, it's team dynamics really good. It's been good to getting to know Danny a bit as well over these last few weeks, and it's been good fun. And obviously we've got Wilson Hughes. Alongside us.
That's his nickname
for another
That's
year.
It.
Yeah, potentially. But I mean, it's team dynamics good. Looking forward to the new game cycle. It's been nice, taking some time away, but I wanted to come back for one little last cheeky race. I was hoping. I mean, I got P4 or whatever the hell it was in the end, but I mean, I would be lying to say I was happy with it. I was wanting to be. When I was P4 after like 7 laps, I was like, right, I want to win now. I was like, right, let's see if I can try and do a good strategy. But I don't honestly think no matter what I would have done, we would have done more, because the hards were just slow. Like, we had really fresh hards and we were still slower on the last lap. I was driving really well. Just the hards were not it. I should have went on the hards at the start and maybe we would have had a better chance, but that's what we call hindsight, and that's what we call shoulda, coulda, woulda. Every single driver on the grid can play that game or cry that card. So that's what it is. Had a lot of fun. Hope everyone enjoyed the shenanigans unfold. I have not even a remote clue who won the championship. So GG to whoever won it.
Neither do we.
Neither do we.
So yeah, I mean, GG for an hour's time or something when it gets confirmed, like Max Verstappen style, who's actually champion or whatever. GG, future champion. But yeah, good race, good fun. That'll be that for F1 22. Good way to sign it off. Been a fun game for me, in general. So yeah.
Well, the big golden question is, Lucas, is it going to be a Blakely return for F1 23? Are we going to see him in PSGL next season?
No, you're damn right I will. I mean, why not?
There we are. That's what I like to hear.
That's what I'll be back. Obviously, I get a lot of questions, generally speaking, like, oh, when are you coming back to league racing, or, why are you not league racing? Like, the minute you stop league racing, you get the questions. So I thought, well, I wanted to take some time away after how intense last year was, winning the championship and fighting for it. So I took some time away. I'm enjoying that very much. I'll continue to enjoy that as well until the new game rolls round. But when the new game rolls round, I mean, I'm going to be, the plans to be really fresh, to be motivated. And yeah, the hunger doesn't exactly change much. After last season, I still want to, give it my everything to yeah, have some fun. So I'm looking forward to next season. I hope everyone enjoyed watching. Well, whether it's F1 Esports, PSGL, or whatever league it may be on F1 22, and here's to F1 23.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to seeing you, Lucas, as well. So enjoy the, I suppose, brief break, and we'll see you in F1 23, my friend.
Shall do. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. Ciao,
and you, Lucas. Onwards and upwards to Wilson Hughes as well, who has joined us in the commentary box. I believe we kept him waiting. McLaren's driver for yet another year. He's back with us. The luck's still not on your side today, Wilson, but nonetheless, a positive game cycle. You've re-signed with McLaren. You're joining the great Lucas Blakely and now Danny Moreno as well. You've got to take some positives off that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I go to this race, I went into this race not feeling very well the past couple of days. I felt pretty ill, so qualifying wasn't really anything to do with luck. It was just me being a bit arse, in all honesty, which is usually not like me. But yeah, the race, I was pretty slow, so I don't know how we've managed to get P7 there after my penalty gets removed, which I believe is P3 after count back in the championship, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, good game cycle for me. Really enjoyed this game, as it's the quickest I've been on an F1 game since 2020, I believe. So yeah, looking forward to the new game, putting some good hours in, and hopefully seeing my face on the esports grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's been a thriller. I mean, obviously, I know that you were quite vocal in saying the luck wasn't necessarily on your side, but obviously, if you were to go P3 in the championship, that would be a tremendous result, certainly for your case. Obviously, looking ahead, I suppose F1 23 is in the forefront of your mind, obviously, with the new F1 esports season, and you've got two teammates to challenge for a first seat spot, I suppose, at McLaren as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all healthy rivalry, and I've been waiting to drive in that grid for quite a while now, so I'm going to be giving it my all. Even in the off season, I'm going to be trying to improve myself, and then when I get the chance, I'm going to be putting the hours in, and I think I'll be working as hard as I can this year to really make sure of it.
Yeah, and how do you think you're going to perform in the new game cycle? Do you think it's going to be an improvement? Do you think there's going to be a similar run of form, or can you really see those improvements kicking in?
Well, we're always striving for improvement. I would like to think I'm going to improve. I'm going to be putting a lot more hours in than I ever have. I'm really going to be attacking the new game cycle, the new season, the new everything, essentially, as hard as I can. I really want to change run of form almost. I mean, it's not been a bad game cycle, but I really want to, be up there all the time. So there's going to be a lot of things I change, and I'm sure every other driver will be trying to do the same, but we'll see.
Absolutely right. Well, I tell you what, looking ahead as well, PSGL, is that on the menu as well coming into next year?
Yeah, PSGL is in the menu, absolutely. I'll be hoping to race in PSGL. And before you cut me off, because I have a feeling that was the last question, whoever won the championship, GG. I know you guys don't know either, but
we don't have a
whoever
clue.
won the championship, GG. I was overtaking Bari in the last lap, and I was really scared that I'd end up taking him out in accident, and it'd go really wrong.
You would have been flavour of the month for that, mate.
Yeah, honestly, I would have been getting views if that happened. But yeah, whoever won it, GG, and yeah.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Well, great to have Wilson here alongside us as well. Forever a smiling face in the commentary box as well. Wilson, take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your night, mate, and we'll crown a champion very shortly. I'm going to introduce Danny Perezne because he's been waiting a little bit to our race winner on track. Danny Perezne, you're a PSGL race winner this season, my friend. Congratulations.
Hi, thank you very much. I mean, I won't celebrate too big because honestly, this is not the best way to win.
No.
But I think that I maximized my race and my pace. I wasn't as fast as the two Ferraris and Thomas, and obviously GG's to their pace. But I tried to keep my race clean and finish the season with a clean race and a good performance by my side. I had a little bit of equipment issues during the qualifying session, and in one lap in the race I had a black screen for 5 seconds, so I wasted like 20% ERS. I was really scared that it will keep on happening, but luckily I could finish. I had a little bit of technical issues like Max Verstappen gearbox or something like that. But anyway, for me PSGL means a lot to participate in. Off-season, it's great practice, great show to watch back, great commentary by you, obviously.
Oh.
So thank you very much for having me in the interview for the last time for the F1 2022 game. and looking forward to compete in 2023.
It's always a pleasure having you here, Danny. I mean, we've seen also an upward curve for yourself as well. In qualifying, Q2 looked like actually you were going to set the fastest lap initially at that stint. Definitely seems to be that the pace was on your side to a degree, and a fairly steady race as well. You saw, I guess there was a little bit of patience right through the race, just sort of let everything unfold.
Yeah. So the one thing I really messed up is that I practiced pit entry 0 times exactly. So I entered the pit 6 times behind Thomas, so it's a safe distance to like not crash into him, but then still stay in DRS. And then I absolutely couldn't stay in the DRS because somehow I was too cautious, or his pit through worked faster, or I made a mistake with re-engaging the clutch. So that was my only mistake in the race, I think. Otherwise, I just tried to do my best, and this is what it was enough for.
And what's the feeling stepping into F1 23? You feeling confident? Do you think it's going to be somewhat similar in terms of how we operate the game?
Yeah, so I'm always optimistic. To be honest, I deal with what I get. I think I'm quite good in making like compromises and getting used to different handling models, different equipment, different problems with the game if they will occur. So I just really enjoy doing F1 esports, and every single year I'm really motivated to somehow find some new stuff that maybe the others don't, or they find it later, and get an advantage on them and fight for great positions in the championship.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing how you get on as well. You're always a shining light up there, Danny. We'll look forward to seeing you again next game cycle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Danny. Race winner, of course, for today across the line. Next up, we have Bari Broumand joining us here, of course. The man who would take it all away to the final day here in the championship fight. We're still yet to hear as to what decision will be made. But Barry, welcome to the commentary box. I know it was a rough one out there. Obviously, the technical issue did not help. Can you just talk us through your race?
Yeah, first of all, hello to everyone watching. I mean, I don't know what to say, George, to be honest. Like, it happened in Kota, I think, as well. I was leading and game crashed. And it happened yet again here as well. Probably the race that could decide championship. Yeah, the game completely crashed. And I think in that time the pace was really looking good. Everything was just manageable. Everything was good. And then, yeah, when the game crashed, I just tried to back on. Had a good recovery, I think. And then tried my best. And then when I pitted, I saved one set fresh soft. But then the game, of course, put me on a used soft. So I had like 20% soft, I think. Like the oldest soft the game put me.
So it put you on the wrong tyres, essentially.
Yes, like I saved fresh soft in quali in case if the race I wanted to do that strategy, the game put me on the freshest soft because I saved one. And then, yeah, it is what it is. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, genuinely, I guess. Yeah, I'm out of the words. Like, I cannot do anything. Like, when it's just out of my control, if you get what I mean. Like, anything is on my control, I can do anything about it. But when it is out of my control, I cannot do anything.
But you've always gone close. There certainly is no doubt about your pace. You're coming off the back of a 2-win streak as well, moving into today. Obviously, it was a bit of misfortune today. You must surely take the positives, though, that your pace is up there, because you're qualifying. Both Ferraris were sensational.
Yes, I think, yeah, I mean, pace-wise, I have full trust on myself. Been really comfortable recently when I put the time, and then it's been awesome. Like, I'm really happy with everything. And as I said, I'm not even sad or anything if I don't know, like, anything happens. It's just out of my control. Like, I cannot control a game crash. Like, it's just out of my control. I'm always saying to myself, when I can't control anything, it's not my fault or anything. So when I can't control anything, it is what it is.
It is. Well, I'm sure we'll find out very soon, Barry, and we'll have you in the, I'm sure, in the commentary box as well. Should we crown you a champion as well? Obviously, it's all down to the stewards. It's all up to them. There's nothing more we can do on track. Nothing more we can do here, certainly in the commentary box. But very best of luck nonetheless.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I don't know if Thomas even wins the championship. I don't know, but GG to him as well. And whoever got P1 as well, I think Danny. But yeah, GG to top 3.
Well, you've got a lot of fans in the chat, Barry. So there you go, mate. Regardless of which way it goes, congratulations on a huge championship effort. And
thank you so much.
We'll wait and see if we'll talk to you again soon. But very best of luck. From one contender to another, Thomas Ronhaar joined us in the live chat too. Hello, Thomas. It was a crazy one out there. You had a little bit of work to do in the second half of that race.
Yeah, definitely had to do a lot of work, especially on the medium turn, to keep Nico behind. Obviously, he was doing some interesting tactics out there, but nonetheless, he definitely tried to give me a hard time, which is very understandable. The teammates, of course, and they're entitled to do that. But yeah, in general, the pace looked very, very strong, especially in the race today. Been doing a lot more race practice recently, and I think it's been paying off quite well. But yeah, just very unlucky that that happened to Bari. Obviously, don't want to win or have an advantage straight away because it's out of his control. But I guess it is what it is for him. It's very unlucky, and I even said on stream I didn't want to have this situation where he had a game crash and I could pull away, and he dropped to like P10, P11 out of the points pretty much. So there was some tactics needed to be done from his teammates. But yeah, nonetheless, I enjoyed it, and obviously I'm gonna have to wait for the stewards what's gonna happen. I have a good feeling something good will happen for me, because I can't confirm. I think I'm gonna say this on stream. I got a double warning when I indeed went off the track once, so that will get looked at. But again, it's not 100% sure if I do win the championship. But yeah, GG to Barry for a great fight, and GG to the rest as well for the top 3.
Well, we'll wait and see and deliver the news to you very shortly. We do have more interviews in the live chat, so don't go away, Thomas. We'll come back to you very soon. Obviously, looking ahead.
George, we have a decision.
We do have a decision, do we? Well,
we have a decision.
There we go. Well, just hold fire a minute, folks. We will bring it to you very shortly. I think I know the decision as well, Jack, so we're going to get everything prepared. Jack, just before we announce it, what are your thoughts on this year's championship?
I mean, what do you say? It's again one that's great to have it go down to the final round. Shame we had to cut short, obviously. I think we're all just looking forward to the next game cycle, but again, an enjoyable season to cover. I think it's my 4th or 5th season here. Great to cover it once again, and we're declaring a new champion either way. And the decision has been made, folks, that Thomas Ronhaar is your new PSGL PC F1 champion. He wins by 2 points. 3-second penalty was removed, putting him in P4, Barry in P8. So, Thomas, I can confirm you are the champion. Big congratulations.
Yes, very happy, man. I had to wait so long I had to wait for the incident, but yeah, out of words right now. Really, really happy. Manages to do pretty much an impossible task with a lot of guys making it hard, but I'm very, very happy to take the championship. Thank you.
It's been a crazy season, Thomas. I mean, the results have certainly been, for yourself, very sterling. Obviously, both you and Barry seem to be locked together in terms of the championship fight from the word go. Obviously, Barry taking the first 2 races. You had a lot to find, but the 2 wins, and also the podium at Jeddah as well, but the wins at Brazil and Spain, would you say they proved crucial?
Yes, especially I would say Spain, because that one was very hard with Jarno having a fight, but managing to do a really, really good job in both those races to get the victories. And yeah, really, really happy once again.
Yeah, well, looking ahead now, do you think this form can continue? What are your thoughts heading into F1 23, new game cycle just around the corner?
I think the goal is the same as this year. Obviously, F1 Esports, I'm going to be competing again. I don't know yet what team. I might stay. I might, do something else. But that's yet to be decided. But yeah, gonna hopefully have a very, very good time, and hopefully I can do the same amount of performances I can do on this game.
Well, what we can confirm is that that double warning was in fact removed after the obviously the battle with Dylan Warren lap 19. But obviously, in terms of the fans that might be watching on and the people at home watching PSGL, have you got anything to say to the world watching right now, Thomas?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, to all the lovers, but also the haters, I still want to thank every single one for the support. I know it's been a very tough time for myself, on track and off track. Yeah, I still hope everyone enjoyed the whole season and this race, of course. And I can't wait for a new season to come. Thank you.
There we are. Well, congratulations, Thomas Ronhaar. You are the PSGL PC F1 champion, a new name on the face. Congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
No worries at all. So that's Thomas Ronhaar, everybody. He is confirmed your champion for this season. Let's also bring in Jake Benham, who was also in the mix as well. Obviously fighting it out here at Bahrain. Not quite for the title, but he was up there challenging from the early point of the season. Jake, welcome to the commentary box, my friend. Once again in the Mercedes colours. It's been an interesting one for you. You've been right at the top end since day one, pretty much. Just it hasn't quite converted into that vital race win yet.
Yeah, firstly, congrats to Thomas, Bari and the rest, but I don't really know why I joined, considering that race was absolutely horrendous, but yeah, the season was going pretty well. I think I was leading for a little bit, and then it got to, I can't remember what race it was, but I had 2 non-scoring finishes, which, yeah, not ideal, as everyone wants to be scoring up there, getting the points, but yeah, I ideally need to just get better at converting like a P3 into a win, because I'm always thereabouts, but it just not at the moment, been converting it, and as everyone knows, not many people like this game, but yeah, same for everyone, and yeah, congrats to Thomas and Barry once again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 podiums this season, though, Jake. That's not a bad effort. I mean, considering the grid that we have here at PSGL, it's always very tight, and arguably the grid and the quality tends to extend a lot further than just PCF1. I mean, even the reserves that come in nowadays are pretty much on the pace. What are your thoughts now heading into the new game cycle? Do you think you have what it takes to cross the next, should we say, get to the next step and effectively start challenging for those race wins?
Yeah, I believe I can, especially looking forward to going on to the next game.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone there.
No, I think every F1 esports driver is the same, to be honest. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the cars change for next season, who's on it straight away, and ultimately you're always going to have the main guys at the top fighting. But yeah, mainly just can't wait to get on to try racing on something different, something new, and hopefully it will ultimately just be a bit of a better season for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think without a doubt, I'm sure we'll see you in the future again. Obviously, both yourself and Jarno are partnered together again, obviously heading into a new year. Looking forward to working with the Flying Dutchman into the new game cycle.
Yeah, it should be good. He's a decent mate, I guess.
Despite he calls you Benham.
Yeah, yeah, well, he's not much better. Yeah.
You heard it here first, Jarno's not that much better. But never mind. But, yeah, Jake, it's been a pleasure having you here, mate. We're going to see you next season, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic.
Appreciate you guys commentating once again as well.
Hey, couldn't do it without
top
you
of
guys.
The scene.
Oh, it's team effort, Jake. Team effort. Thank you so much, Jake. Awesome job. We'll see you next season, my friend, as always. Next up, why don't we bring in the GOAT, the dog, Will Lewis. Can't go without you, my friend. Will, welcome to the stream. I just got to say, it's been a privilege and a treasure having you on the grid this season. Never do I want to miss an interview with yourself. How are you doing? Can't hear him.
I'm great, George. How are you, my friend? I'm buzzing. I'm always buzzing.
You're always buzzing. Give us your thoughts on that championship at the very end. Obviously, the title fight went to the last race. Can you give us your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we unfortunate with Barry's game crash as well, but it was looking good at the start. I'm pretty sure they were 1-2 on the grid. I don't know. I didn't actually see the start, but yeah, I mean, well done to the pair of them. It was intense towards the end. For a brief part of the race, I think we all thought maybe Bari can pull this back, but with the soft tyres, it just seemed to fall away from him. But over the course of the season, it was just back and forth the whole thing, and generally really entertaining to watch. So well done to the pair of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got an exciting year coming up as well. Obviously, Williams Esports now. That's the team you're with. A bright future ahead. Obviously, working with the likes of Alvaro Caraton and still an unnamed third driver as well that we're still waiting to hear. Looking forward to the new challenge and the new game cycle ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be good to work with these guys because they're so experienced and know exactly what's going on in the game. So it's just a case of learning stuff, picking everything up that I can, and just taking one step at a time, because trying to progress too quickly just tends to slow yourself down. So it's just a case of getting into challenges and sending it and seeing what happens.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure we'll see you sending it on many an occasion. We're going to see you back in PSGL as well.
Oh, hopefully, yeah, hopefully so. I mean, after Australia quali, you know, the title charge was on. Unfortunately,
it was on.
It didn't get anywhere. Look, it was on.
It was on.
No, unfortunately, it didn't get anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we can see me back, but we'll have to see what happens.
Little acorns grow big trees, Will Lewis. I'm sure we'll see more next season, my friend. F123 just around the corner. Thank you for joining us, Will Lewis. Have a great off-season. We'll look forward to seeing you back for F123. Next up, we'll bring in Otis Lawrence, the young Welshman, who, of course, has been here for quite some time. We got a queue up here for interviews. How crazy is this? Marcel Kiefer also right in the mix. We can't not have him as well. But first of all, let's have Otis Lawrence with us as well. Otis, welcome back, good sir. You've been right in the mix here. Obviously, challenging yet again. I tell you what, no battle is too strong for you, is it?
Yeah, the quality didn't go the best. I was waiting for this interview for like 15 minutes, so
there's a queue.
yeah,
Sorry,
it's quite long.
George's fault.
I'm just making queues. Yeah, sorry.
He's in control.
Yeah,
yeah,
which is
dangerous.
dangerous.
The quality didn't go so well. P7, but yeah, race went well. Good as race pace like always. Feel like I'm always a bit better on the race than quality. Nobody had that voice crack, but still, pretty good result. P2 could have got P1, but yeah, very happy result.
Yeah, I mean, obviously now we've witnessed you enter into the world of PCF1. Obviously, a big statement of quality from yourself. I mean, you've come from Xbox where you dominated through the entire platform. How tough was it to cross over? Just to summarise your season, how tough was it to make that crossover from Xbox into PC?
It is very hard. I think PC is a bit faster than Xbox, but yeah, it's definitely a lot harder. You got a lot more pressure on you and stuff, so you have to perform you have to perform under pressure, which is not easy, I'll tell you that. But yeah, excited for next game. I don't know if I'll be F1 for the first season, but if I'm in F2, I'm going to try and win the championship. But yeah, also it was very hard, and yeah, I'm glad I performed.
Well, and also there was an announcement made recently that you've been taken on as the McLaren developmental driver as well for the future. Are you excited about that prospect, working with a team that has obviously just come off the back of winning an F1 esports title?
Yeah, I'm very excited to work with Lucas and Danny and Wilson, because Lucas is obviously the world champion. So I can learn a lot off them. Hopefully I can help them a lot. And I'm very excited to work with everyone in McLaren.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we'll look forward to seeing you up then. I'm sure without a doubt we'll see you up at the top end as well as soon as you've turned of age, of course. But congratulations on a sterling season, and hopefully we'll get to see you in PCF1 as well. Congratulations, Otis.
Thank you very much.
Last but not least, Marcel Kiefer. Let's bring him in. The man, the myth, the legend. We still don't know where he's going, folks. It's still all a mystery. But Marcel Kiefer joins us here. Welcome back to PSGL, Marcel Kiefer. How are you doing?
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Not bad. We're getting there, aren't we, Jack? We're getting there.
Yeah, awesome. If I could get my mute button quick.
Oh my God. Absolutely. No, it's been amazing. I have to tell you, an exciting championship. Well, I say exciting. It's been a bit of an odd championship finale. Have you got any take on it from your perspective?
I didn't see anything aside from I've heard a bit of chaos and I nearly caused a safety car in the end accidentally. So yeah,
I'm sure a few people would have thanked you for that.
Yeah, I know, but like I think I would have been called out for doing some stupid stuff. But I literally dragged the mediums to 100% tire wear. I've never seen that before without a puncture until it was 100%. So yeah, that was my highlight. Aside from that, it was over in lap 1. Q1 was exciting. Q2 not so much, and from there on I was just enjoying my last few laps on F122.
Yeah, absolutely. You used the word enjoying. I heard a grimace there right towards the end. But Jack Canan, I mean, yeah. you saw the puncher, Jack. I mean, obviously, Marcel did put out a good account, didn't he?
I was very confused, I'll be honest. I got to cut back to Sector 3 and there's just this Red Bull with a massive puncture. It gave me great entertainment. I had some hope that it might be a safety car, so anyway, I'll give you some props for getting the mediums to 100%, to be honest.
It's got to be an achievement for that somewhere, isn't it? Surely a trophy, trophy for that somewhere. But yeah, no, incredible. I mean, Marcel, looking ahead now, F1 23 just around the corner. Are you able to give us any scoop as to where you're going next season?
No. I'm going to bed.
Going to bed? Is that confirmation that Marcel Kiefer is going to bed, everybody? We have got that confirmation. So at least that's something for you. But can we get any confirmation? Is it still in the Red Bull quarters or no?
I mean, maybe, maybe not. You've got to find out soon.
That's closer than no. You've heard it here first. He's staying at Red Bull, folks. I mean, PSGL, are we going to see a full season from you next season as well? Are you going to take the plunge into league racing full time?
I think, yeah, maybe pre-esports I'm planning to, but I think after that, let's see if I'm still enjoying the game. Depends on F1 23.
Well, I'm sure they'll knock it out of the park, but nevertheless, it's always a pleasure to have you with us, Marcel, honestly. Such a character, such a smiling face in the paddock as well, the virtual paddock, I like to call it. But thank you ever so much. Great to see you competing tonight as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you back, hopefully, in F1 23.
Cheers, guys.
What a diamond. Thank you, Marcel Kiefer. We've also got, Jack, we've got the boss here. We've got the boss man, Big C. He's with us. I tell you what, there's the most important member of PSGL here now, folks. Our Lord and Saviour, it's Big C. Connor, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, obviously, we've had like half an hour since the end of the race, so, it's all calmed down a little bit, but obviously it was a bit of a mad last few laps, obviously, looking at some of the corner cutting warnings, the penalties, but thankfully, we've got Ash Best, Bloom Dude with PSGL, so there's also Luke from WBOR, our arch rivals who are helping out with stewarding at the end with that penalty. Obviously, there could be more stewards inquiries, of course, and things could change, but obviously, provisional is Ronhaar's the champion, so congratulations to Ronhaar, and obviously commiserations to Bari, which I think his pace in the second half of the season has been like unstoppable. So, yeah, just a crazy day.
It certainly was a crazy day. I think obviously we were a little disappointed that the technicality came in for Bari and obviously losing the positions that he did. Can't argue though that it's been a great championship for him, but there seems to be a common trend with Bari. Win the first lot of races, that the championship charge, for some reason, whatever reason, sort of dissipates towards the end. And yet again, he is usurped by a Dutchman.
Yeah, I mean, it's just deja vu, I guess, but, I think there's a lot of positives for Barry in terms of how he has improved, and obviously, Thomas is one of the fastest drivers on the game. Obviously there's been a lot of drama, a lot of controversy, but to be fair to Thomas, he had basically nearly the whole grid against him, and, he still managed to come out on top, which he deserves a lot of respect for. And obviously Barry, I've known Barry quite a while, and, he's just a great talent, and I think his time will come, so... Yeah, I've obviously got to say a few final words on top of that. It's just like, thanks to everyone for their continued support. I know the game, the situation surrounding cheating and all that sort of stuff isn't ideal. And I know, you voice your frustrations at PSGL, and I sort of get that because you are misinformed. But at the end of the day, it is down to EA, Codemasters, F1 itself, all those sorts of guys to take action and to listen to the concerns or just investigate everything and to make sure all the drivers and everyone's happy just to improve the community for us, because we're not important in the grand scheme of things, and we just sort of get stamped on, I guess, a little bit, because the drivers can't say anything during F1 esports, but they can during PSGL, and we're the ones who get all the shit, when really, they should be taking a stance during the F1 esports season, maybe, retiring on lap 1 in November 4 instead of planning it in PSGL, but that's for another day. And I think, George, we probably could talk about this for like hours, to be honest. We could do a whole podcast on it, but we'll save that maybe for another day. But thanks to everyone,
We did speak about doing a podcast one day. We did talk about that at one time. We got lots of material for it.
There's too. I'm sure like when Jan and all those guys retire, there'll be a lot of stories and info. But yeah, just a big thanks from me. We love everyone who contributes, even if you're talking rubbish in the chat. We're very grateful to you all, and yeah, it's been another great season, and thankfully we've got a bit of a break. So yeah, thanks George, thanks Jack, and thanks everyone.
Yeah, and on that note, thank you very much, Connor. Of course, Connor McDonough, the boss at PSGL, the man who runs it all. And it's been a privilege, folks, honestly. We have witnessed what can only be described as a fascinating title challenge. Two greats, obviously, that have been part of F1 esports, part of PSGL now for such a long time. We've witnessed so many great championships since the formation back in Season 27. We will continue, of course, to bring you the latest and greatest drivers to your eyes for no charge at all here at YouTube, here at PSGL. It's always a pleasure to broadcast to you people at home. As Connor so rightly said, we never miss a beat. We love broadcasting to you guys. The drivers love putting on a show for you as well. And obviously, if you like PSGL, if you want to stay tuned into PSGL, of course, hit the subscribe button, folks. That's what it's for. Also, hit a like as well. Stay up to date. Also, check out the social medias at PremierSimGL. That's where you can find them. You can also find them on Discord too. Make sure you check them out on there. You can stay up to date as well. If you want to submit and also become part of the league, you can be as well. Also, if you want to check me out, my name is, of course, George Morgan. I am your commentator alongside Jack Cannan as well. And you can find me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at George Morgan TV. Jack, it's been a wonderful season, hasn't it? Do you want to share your socials as well?
Absolutely, yeah. If you want to find me on Twitter, it is at JackSeatComs. If you want to find me on Instagram, it is at Jack_Cannan. And I echo everything George has said. It's a pleasure to bring you all of this action. I love doing it, but I'm not sad to get the break either until we get to F1 23. Pleasure sharing the box with George as always. Big props to Chris Buxton as well, who filled in during the year as
and
well.
Richie as well.
To Nathan Ritchie, yeah, as well.
Stepped in during the crazy error code debacle that we had at Mexico. Yeah. No, honestly, it's brilliant. And Jack, I think obviously it's our last broadcast tonight at PSGL on the F1 22 game. Honestly, it's been such a whirlwind. But finally, I suppose we get to pack our bags. We can go on holiday.
Yeah, we can. We can go on holiday. We do what we like. But I can tell you one thing. I'm just not opening the F1 game for a little while. No. So I'm just gonna step away and wait until the F1 23. But again, we appreciate, as Connor said, we appreciate everyone who engages in the chat. But like he said, do not direct your anger our way. It's not us. No, we've had just for everyone at home, you can imagine. Again, we do our job as best as we can. We are professional at all times, but it is tough to remain professional sometimes when we're having to jump between YouTube chats, looking back at the game, looking back at the YouTube chat. We do our best, and I think we hold ourselves to a high regard that we do keep it that way, and we try to at least make the races entertaining for you at home. So again, I just wanted to put that out there as well, that we are aware of everything. We're not acting like we're completely oblivious to everything that's going on, but as commentators, we are impartial. We remain professional at all times. So just keep that in mind. We're not going to voice our opinions because that's unprofessional on a broadcast. But again, as always, it's a pleasure to share it with George, to share it with Connor, to share it with everyone who's done such great work behind the scenes all through this season. And let's see if we're back next year, George. Let's see. Yeah, echoing Jack Cannan's sentiments there, folks. It has been an absolute privilege to be alongside him and in front of you guys for the entirety of the season. Nothing beats a good season at PSGL. You guys have no idea how much broadcasting to you every Wednesday means to us as a team. The whole team behind the scenes, everyone at the stewards' desks working so hard as well to bring the updates to you, the social media teams, the graphics department, everyone here at PSGL appreciates your support, and we will continue to bring you coverage of league racing for the distant future as well. I tell you what, Wednesday nights, it will always be PC F1 nights here at PSGL, and we love bringing it to you. And without any shadow of a doubt, we will be back for F1 23, at least we hope we are anyway. But nevertheless, you'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. But take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you soon, very soon. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, folks.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.